I know, I hate it. Yeah, and they made it not like a box. Now it's like, it's got a circle. It's like an oval. Yeah. Okay. Alright. I'm not? It's true, I am desktop audio.
So now I'm in here.
Yeah.
And we're, oh gosh, dang it. It's not picking up Umineko for some reason. I'm gonna kill someone.
Yeah.
Little peek behind the curtain, audience.
Yeah.
Every day before we stream this, have to, like, open and close OBS and Umineko several times because OBS just does not want to record Umineko for some reason. Until it finally recognizes that Umineko exists and then records it on game capture. It's very frustrating. And so I always, like, start my setup, like, 20 minutes before stream just to make sure that it works every time.
You know what they say? Without love, it cannot be recorded.
Without love, it cannot be recorded. Okay,
You just
let's
gotta
do
beat
our
the love into OBS.
little... Yep, okay. Audio sounds good.
Yeah.
So welcome back, everybody. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't remember where we were.
The Banquet of the Golden Witch, episode 8 for us. We've been doing this 8 times. And, I don't want to get ahead of anything, but most of the other 2 ended on number 9, each of them.
Dang.
So, but no, last time, we witnessed the second Twilight, which was done by Beatrice, and it was horribly brutal to Rosa and Maria.
Yeah.
Beatrice was like, hey, sis, maybe tone it down. and she was
Wait. Only because her mans got angry at her.
True, Battler got
really
incensed.
Angry.
Yeah.
And then she was like, wait, am I the problem?
Yeah.
And then she was like, sis, tone it down a bit, maybe. And Ava did not seem pleased with that.
Yeah.
Beatrice, I should say.
Beatrice. What else? There's something else that happened. Oh, not Beatrice, but Ava is like dying in her room.
She got a little fever.
True. I think that about sums up. There was a lot more discussion about the deaths.
Oh yeah, and Rosa and Maria were discovered
Yeah.
dead. So now everyone's like, holy moly, we gotta hole up. Especially since the adults that believed that it was heavily implied that all of the adults believed it was a ruse, but it was confirmed that both Ava and Rosa believed that it was a ruse and that the murders were not real. So now everyone's probably like, oh no.
Yep.
It actually is real and there is a murderer and now we have to actually think about protecting ourselves. For real.
And now the first Twilight's obviously out of the way. The second Twilight's out of the way. That just leaves the clump of Twilights at the end.
Yep.
And then we get to go to the Golden Land. Yeah. I just woke up, so my voice is still getting there.
I've got my absinthe with me today. I've been Kenzo maxing recently. No, it's just Mountain Dew. But
see,
I
also have my absinthe. It's pink water.
Oh. I have it in like a whiskey glass.
Oh.
So that's why I'm calling it my
Mountain
absinthe
cup.
today, because I just have a large circular glass that I'm drinking my Mountain Dew out of.
Need me a Genji for real.
All right. Well, without further ado, let me take a swig and let's get back into it.
Yeah.
With Rosa's and Maria's deaths, it was now clear that the culprit was still hiding somewhere, trying to add even more murders to this chain. As he shed tears, Rudolph scolded Rosa's corpse for being reckless several times. Oh, that's right, Rudolph and Battler ran out to find them. But Rosa would never respond to that again. They decided to place the two corpses in one of the guest rooms and to seal it until the police arrived. The second murder, the murder of the second Twilight, had delivered a heavy blow to everyone. It had blown away the optimism that some of them had held. The thought that a crime didn't actually occur, and it was all a game or a farce by Kinzo and the servants. That's what I just said. Trying to distract themselves from the loss of the people they liked. George and Jessica had spent the whole time since morning talking about every possibility.
Dang.
And they had distracted their hearts by supposing that these murders might have actually all been an act, and that Shannon and Cannon were only pretending to be dead. When the next murder occurred, it destroyed that thought, and they were once again struck by the fact that the person they liked had most definitely been killed. The tears that they thought had died away began to drip down once more, and Battler couldn't think of anything to say to them.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. It's all just an elaborate chess match, and it'll all get reset in, like...
Guys, it's fine. This is just the third episode. We have, like, 5 more.
We're not even close to the end yet, guys.
It'll be fine.
After that, all of the adults checked that all of the rooms were safe and locked, just in case. They made certain that the shutters on all the windows were down and locked, and they confirmed that no one suspicious was hiding anywhere. Can you say it in red for me?
Yeah, true.
On top of that, they checked their weapons once again, and checked with each other to make sure that they were mentally prepared, so that they wouldn't hesitate to fire off a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Rosa's gun had been found near the scene of the crime. Someone had gone out of their way to leave it there, so everyone suspected that it was some kind of trap. But when Hideyoshi delicately used a fire iron to fire off test shots, dang.
Yeah.
It was able to discharge without incident. Hideyoshi, you only needed to shoot once! Dang. So, since the 5 shots loaded into it had discharged without any problems, they reloaded it with bullets and handed it over to the only adult male who wasn't armed, Hideyoshi. My man!
Yeah, he gets one now.
However, the fact that it had been able to fire off 5 shots gave rise to a certain paranoia. Also, this isn't that big of a deal, but like, I'm just making this mental image of how Hideyoshi did this because those are Winchesters, which means they're lever action, which means you have to cock the lever to reload it every time. And based off of the audio we just got, Hideyoshi was slamming that thing with a fire iron somehow.
He figured it out. He had it ready. He had the whole setup there.
Hideyoshi's like one of those like circus acts where he he does it all with a fire iron.
Yeah. He's a pro. Don't underestimate Hideyoshi.
This short-barreled Winchester could hold only 5 shots. In other words, Rosa hadn't fired even once. And yet, the two had probably been killed by someone with their bare hands. This meant there was a possibility that the crime had been committed by someone whose face they knew. When the first murder occurred, I privately thought of the possibility that it was all an act. My apologies to Dr. Nanjo, but if he had actually been an accomplice, I thought the deaths of all the servants might possibly have been a massive, elaborate act by Father. After all, the closed room situation they were in couldn't have been created unless we suppose it was all an act. Not true. Battler proved it. It could have been an accident. It could.
Yeah. We also suspected that... No, I still want to believe that's the case.
My apologies, but that is not so. I am quite old.
Dang.
I might possibly make a misdiagnosis. However, I would never mistake whether they were alive or dead.
I get it. Don't go out of your way to say it out loud, Dr. Nanjo.
My apologies.
They had no way of knowing, but Beato had already used the red to proclaim the deaths of the 6. No, the deaths of all victims so far in this game. That faint dream that it was all a farce, that the victims were actually alive. I'm sorry to say it, but that's impossible.
In that case, it makes more sense to assume it's someone familiar with the mansion. Someone hiding around and carrying out a really well-polished crime. So ever since the typhoon came to this island and sealed it off from the outside world, there's been more than 18 people here.
Of course, there was no way for them to know about that either. That claim of Rudolph's has also been denied in red. There are no more than 18 humans on this island. It was an animal, actually.
Yeah.
It was a bear. It did it with his bare hands.
Yeah, true.
I might have a way to look at it that keeps things consistent, at least a little. Simply put, this person in hiding is someone who shouldn't really be on this island right now. And yet, there's a likelihood that they were someone Rosa-san knew, someone she let her guard down around. So, for example, could it be a servant who wasn't on this 2-day shift?
It's hard to be certain about that one. When our servants finish their work and leave the island, it isn't as though we punch their ticket or something to make sure. If we're supposing that a servant on a shift from a few days ago only pretended to leave the island and actually stayed here, that would be hard to deny.
I gotta say real quick, in between since our last one, I started prowling around the Umineko subreddit just for memes.
Yeah.
And I found out the community refers to his supposed amusement park as Krausneyland.
I want to go across the land. Oh.
Yeah. That was all. I've seen too many edits of him with Mickey Mouse ears now.
Oh, that's funny.
I had to share that.
I don't think Rosa-san is such a fool. If a servant who wasn't supposed to be here popped up in front of you, who wouldn't be on their guard?
I'm not even sure we should be assuming that it was someone she recognized. And maybe they suddenly attacked Rosa from the darkness and were about to steal her gun. Then Rosa fell, hit her head against the fence, and stopped moving. The guest house was nearby, and they wanted to avoid the sound of gunfire, so they killed Maria-chan with their bare hands. There's also that possibility. Still, even if that is the case, would they really intentionally leave Rosa's gun at the scene of the crime? We don't know what the culprit's armed with, but they've got to feel insecure about our guns. Wasn't that a perfect chance for them to thin out our supply? Why would they intentionally leave it at the scene of the crime?
At first, I thought that gun was a trap. That's what chessboard thinking says it should be. By purposely leaving it, they wanted to make one of us touch it. And they must have wanted to make us pull the trigger. I was sure that something dangerous had been done to it, to make it explode and cause massive injuries. But it was actually okay.
What a sprite.
He's
Me
so
too.
happy. He's so...
The culprit probably panicked. I'll bet that right now they're regretting that they missed their chance to steal a gun.
I don't like it. It ticks me off, like it's a message from the witch saying she isn't even scared of guns. However, in any event, this is truly a fearsome opponent. Even at a glance, they should have been able to tell that Rosa had a gun. To think that they attacked her despite that. The fact that they are unafraid of guns should not be taken lightly.
Indeed. It's as Natsuhi says. We should probably be even more cautious than we have been.
This is just for peace of mind, but at the time we think Rosa-san was attacked outside, where was everyone?
Natsuhi and I were here, along with Rudolph and Kyrie-san. I can guarantee their alibis.
Ava and I were together. I can guarantee that.
George, Aniki, Jessica, and I were together.
When Aunt Rosa yelled at us to return to the second floor, we retraced our steps back to the cousin's room, all dejected.
Back then, if we hadn't let Maria go...
Saying that isn't going to change anything. Dr. Nanjo?
I was reading a book in a room on the second floor. I was by myself, so no one can verify my alibi, but I believe everyone saw me return to the second floor with the children.
Once I say this, it'll never end. But what if you jumped out the window, attacked Rosa, then climbed back up using a rain gutter or something?
Don't be absurd. How could I perform a feat such as jumping down from the second story or climbing up with this old body?
Let us stop suspecting each other. It's more important that we trust each other, and, for the children's sakes as well, defend this place until the very end.
You're right. It's like Natsuhi-san says. For now, let's stop suspecting each other.
That's right. We may be useless as far as searching for the culprit is concerned. We can only stay alive until tomorrow, inform the police, and follow their instructions. Because the police will definitely expose who the culprit is. Definitely.
Definitely?
Maybe.
What is it, Ava? Is your body still feeling bad?
Mother, what's wrong? Are you okay? Sorry. It looks like my fever is still strong. I'll be fine, so leave me alone.
When they looked, they saw Ava staring at the floor, her breathing harsh again. She had been able to act firm for a time, due to the urgency of their situation, but it seemed her body wasn't at its best after all.
Oh boy. Yeah, I killed those two. Now we're the only ones who know about the gold. I won't give up even a scrap to the other siblings. Oh, shoot, okay. Hold on. I gotta adjust myself to this every time that they have a scene with just these two.
Mind Palace moment.
Yeah. What have you done? There was so much of that gold, right? Giving Rosa and the others their share wouldn't have been a problem at all, right? It would. That gold is to be passed on only to the head of the Ushiromiya family. That's because it, as a whole, represents no more or less than the honor of the head. To wound that even a tiny bit is definitely not something that I, the new Golden Witch Beatrice, will permit. Do you plan to continue these murders according to the witch's epitaph? Do you actually plan to become a murderer 5 more times? Yeah. If I don't finish that annoying ceremony, it seems my power as a witch won't become complete. Hey, me? The power of the witch is really awesome. It really can make all the crazy things we imagine become reality. The power to make dreams more than just dreams. Now that I've learned of this power, I can no longer stop being a witch. If I can finish the ceremony and make my power complete, I'm sure I'll be able to teach you that feeling too. Stop acting like a fool, fool. Haven't you played at being a witch enough? We found the gold, and we've even been promised the position of the successor. We'll probably need to tightrope walk just a bit, but by now, that's a dream that will definitely come true. Beyond that, what more could you wish for? I wanted to become a witch. I don't... Oh, that's her, okay. I don't give a damn about that dream. That's right. Because I kept holding on to that dream, I've lived at this age forever. When you become an adult, you threw that dream away, became. No matter how long you wait, the rabbit holding a clock won't visit you. And you won't be able to meet Humpty Dumpty. Of course, you definitely won't be invited to the land of cards. Because you gave up and accepted all that. You became an adult.
Was Alice in Wonderland early 20th century? Was that like...
Yeah, it was like the
Okay.
1930s or earlier.
Okay.
So you don't want to become a witch or anything like that anymore. You've even forgotten that it truly was your own dream at one point. Anyway, stop it! I've already gotten my hands on 2 dreams. The gold and the position of head. That's more than enough. So please, your dream has nothing to do with me. Stand down! No way! Magic's too interesting. Also, those 2 dreams of yours both came true because of my magic. It wouldn't be fair if my dream didn't come true too. I'm grateful for your magic, and I acknowledge that you're a real witch. So just stand down and return to the inside of my heart. And never appear again. No way. We're both misunderstanding each other, aren't we? That's right. I am not you anymore. You are Ushiromiya Eva. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. So it's not my responsibility to go back inside your heart. I guess I feel like a butterfly who's broken out of her cocoon, meaning you. The fever
I think I'm having a heart attack.
is making my mind cloudy. My inexperience with magical power is forcing me support it with your vitality. Until I finish the ceremony and become a full witch, you might have to bear the burden.
Every once in a while, they just have a little typo in there, but it's okay.
A little
we
bit.
understand what
They
they
were
mean.
excited. They were excited in this episode. I'll take that as payment for making 2 of your dreams come true.
At least it's just like they're basically just missing little articles like ands, and
Yeah, there's never something
It's
that
not
bad.
something like a word being misspelled. It's just like they're usually missing a connector word.
And again, given how massive this work is, I
Yeah.
don't blame them. I don't.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry, okay? For the remaining 5 sacrifices, I'll avoid your family. Let's see. Rudolph Kyrie Kraus Nazi.
That's funny, Beatrice, because you forget the part that they're all her family.
Nuh-uh. After that, what about that old geezer Nanjo?
Oh no, Nanjo's not!
No!
No, Nanjo!
Perfect. I'll kill those 5 people. Could you call this a murder announcement revealed only to you?
Duh!
Or...
Eva finally crouched down. Hideyoshi rushed up to her and lent her his shoulder. Are you okay? Let's take it easy and rest.
Are you alright? Dr. Nanjo, take a look at Eva.
When Nanjo and George tried to approach, Eva made a gesture to stop them.
Thank you. I'm fine, Dr. Nanjo. I'm taking medicine. I apologize for saying this during such an extreme situation, but let me rest a little longer. Mom, I'll lend a hand too. Thank you, but I'll be fine as long as your father watches over me. Go back to the second story cousin's room and don't come out no matter what. Understood? No matter what happens, you must not leave the guest house. Outside, that witch will... Ooh.
Hey, don't talk anymore. Sorry, everyone, but I'll be watching over Ava in our room. Tell us if something happens.
Hideyoshi and Ava retreated from the lobby. However, Ava wasn't the only one who wasn't feeling good. They hadn't gotten a wink of sleep since the previous night, and had been pressed by tension since that morning. They were mustering their energy to protect their families, but if they relaxed even a little, surely everyone would be down and out.
What? Okay, hear me out. What if they just had an extra set of people sleep, but in the main room where everyone else is?
That's what I've been done saying. Why not just stay in the same room?
Oh well.
Everything has gone as planned until now, but from here on out it will become difficult, you see? Difficult meaning... Indeed. Normally, as the ceremony progresses and the victims increase in number, they begin to tighten their guard. And in most cases, they hole up in one place and stop moving. That is extremely inconvenient for us. Are you saying that we witches are inferior to a bunch of humans in a group?
Yes.
No.
Witches are never inferior to humans. However, perhaps you could say that times change, and that humans have gotten their hands on a poison. This wasn't a problem long ago, when people believed in witches. But just like that annoyance Battler, people in the current era deny magic on a fundamental level. In other words, their existence itself is anti-magical.
It's funny to me to think, like, Beatrice has no context for why Beatrice, like, obsesses with Battler so much out of everyone, because she doesn't see the competition. So she's just like, why does she obsess over my nephew so much?
She's probably more like, why do you care about this guy? I'm just gonna kill him. Like, I'm gonna boot him from the world.
It's just funny to me that it's like him specifically. What is it about him that she's so bent out of shape over?
It'd be so funny if they had a thing that was like, you like Battler, don't you, Beatrice?
As a result, at some point, they grew to possess a toxin inside their bodies that denies magic. In other words, you're saying that the more humans there are, the stronger that magic-resisting toxin gets, and the greater the disadvantage is for us witches? The combined amount of power in their hearts that denies magic, in other words, their magic resistance power, becomes the denominator in the equation of your magic's power.
Is that why Battler's the way he is?
Understand?
He's like a... that is not correct. That is not the correct analogy. I was gonna say he's like a magnet, but I don't... Maybe I was thinking of like when you put a magnet on like a hard drive and it bricks it. No, maybe that's what I was trying to go for. I don't know.
Battler is like tungsten.
Yeah. I know about that from Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
Is that a bit too difficult for you? You're joking. Actually, I understand it easily. In other words, you're saying that the more people there are who don't believe in magic, and the stronger their will is, the more the effects of our magic are divided.
Beatrice isn't used to having someone understand it the first time it being explained.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, if it's so formulaic, I'll have to rethink my method of attack.
I don't get it. What do you mean? That doesn't make any
saying
sense.
That stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
that doesn't make any sense.
Magic, witches.
Huh?
You're crazy. Stop trying to get me to believe in your games, Beatrice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Meanwhile, is just showing him like a cell phone.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. They will have this 20 years from now. It is called an iPhone. You're
Making
insane.
things up.
Fundamentally, magic possesses a vast power. It can even make a rain of fire fall from the heavens or divide a sea. That interesting that they chose those two specific things.
Think about it.
And reviving a lost life isn't impossible either. Interesting that they chose those 3 things.
Think about it.
I'm just saying. However, that power is extremely weak against the toxin that rejects it. And that toxin started piling up in humans since the time they forgot to respect things sacred.
Think about it. Okay.
Until, finally, this earth was covered with enough toxin that the miracles of magic could not be displayed. The Enlightenment and its consequences.
Right?
Thus, witches from across the world were chased from their dwellings. They had been forced to choose to throw away their magic and live as humans, or else live in hiding in remote areas where the toxin of humans didn't reach. In that sense, Rokenjima, with its population of only a few dozen humans, was extremely favorable for witches. And even more favorable was the existence of the ghost story about the witch who lived in the Rokenjima forest. In other words, by permeating the island with the fear that a witch might exist, the magic-resisting toxin from the humans was weakened. A small population, and room for them to acknowledge magical beings. In other words, minds that were only weakly anti-magical. Only by existing in the valley where those two converged could a witch live in modern times.
Yeah.
I see. So using this formula, we can arrive at several rules for how a witch can use her power efficiently. The first is presentation. Create a murder scene that couldn't conceivably have been done by humans. Decorate it in an occult way. Make it look very much like a witch exists, and permeate people with fear to make them believe that witches exist. As a result, the anti-magic power and the denominator for our magical power will be decreased.
Sorry, I'm pouring more absinthe.
Jimmy Neutron. Women.
I see. So this is why the creepy magic circles of the first Twilight were created? That's right, exactly. The gaudy scenes for the first Twilight in each game are all for that reason. It's definitely not as though I like being cool or I'm doing it for fun.
Okay.
In that case, predecessor Sama, you failed this time around. You killed them in a very plain way. It doesn't look like anything more than a simple mystery.
Ronove set it up. Blame him.
Yeah. This one wasn't me.
True. I was having a spat with my boyfriend. No.
I heard about last time and the time before that from Ronove. You should have damaged the corpses more grotesquely, like you did then, making it more like fantasy and instilling fear in those people. Well, about that, I thought it wouldn't be artful to do that every time, you see? Don't think too deeply on it, it's just a whim.
Gotta change it up from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it really had been her whim. After what Battler had said to her, she couldn't say it out loud anymore. But she really had decided her methods of killing based on mere whims. Excuse me, something got caught in my throat there.
Mm-hmm.
No. Would it be better to say that she had half-heartedly let Ronove decide? After all, she left the closed rooms of this game's first Twilight to him.
I've never forgotten.
But if she'd had a cruel idea, then she would surely have explored the limits of atrocity even worse than in the previous game.
You told me to show some restraint when deciding Rosa and Maria's deaths too. But that wasn't a course of action beneficial to us witches either, was it? In actuality, by now none of them believe one bit that a witch actually exists. They're totally sure that it's a mystery, not a fantasy. This turn of events is a failure from a witch perspective. For some reason, you keep doing things in a kinda lukewarm way, Predecessor Sama. Like they say, things you learn from when you're young will definitely help you out in the future.
Just pull the I like a challenge card. Just pull the I'm making it harder on purpose.
Was this the episode that started with the description that this was a hard mode but not for you? I can't remember anymore.
Yes. As in for Beatrice and not Battler?
Well, it just said, but not for you, if I remember right. We can go back and look later, but we'll see. But anyway. I missed that line. I missed that line. I need that. Help!
Wait. I got it. There we go.
Okay.
This is a test passed on from my predecessor to you. Take it on with respect.
Beato tried to laugh heartily, but it was obviously the fake laugh of someone trying to cover something up. And the new witch shrugged with a sigh.
At this stage, it's probably too late to create a scene and reduce the anti-magic power. In that case, there's another move. Getting the humans to split up should work. Indeed, that is probably the most effective way. The smaller the number of humans, the more the denominator shrinks. As a result, the magical power functions instantaneously. In other words, it all begins from one point: how to destroy this barricade situation and have them split up into small groups. However, they are already very cautious. The barricade won't be destroyed easily, right? Both the barricade in Kinzo's study 2 games ago and the barricade in the parlor last time were very stubborn. Furthermore, most of the cunning adults still remain this time. This situation is more difficult than all the ones before it, understand? If you wish, I could give you some special advice.
In a closed circle, when the first murder case occurs, the survivors always hole up, gathering together to observe each other and ensure their safety. Funnily enough, not only do mystery authors and murder culprits worry about how to break that situation apart, but so do witches, who supposedly exist at the other end of the spectrum. For a while, the new witch poked her cheek with her pointer finger, and after acting as though she was planning something, she spoke. What a face.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
It reminds me of the Freerin meme face.
Yeah, for me, I always think of, basically for all of Avatrice, it makes me think of that scene from It's Always Sunny. I don't like that picture, Charlie.
Its smug aura mocks me.
Yeah. But you can say that about a lot of characters in this, but anyway.
After all, it is a test. I won't borrow your moves. Really? Still, it will be rather difficult to defeat this barricade, right? I've already made my move. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And it will definitely work on someone smart. Is that so? You really are excellent. I'm pleased to see that my disciple won't be causing me much trouble. My motto is to study things myself before asking other people. Then, if you would excuse me, I have to wait for my prey to get lured out. Indeed. Well then, handle it with care. Bye.
As the new witch lowered her head, her face blank, She turned into gold butterflies and vanished. Beato didn't look happy at all. She seemed to be lonely because of how little she was being relied on.
Not one of them gives a fig for me.
What a phrase. I have never heard that, ever.
Now you have.
You witch apprentice, acting so smart.
That's the problem with witches nowadays.
Yeah.
I'll bet she makes some painful mistake and starts crying.
They don't defer to their elders at all.
No respect.
Nope.
No respect. And they don't want to work hard.
No.
Then, without a doubt, she'll finally realize my greatness and beg me to teach her. Ha ha ha! Until then, I shall watch from on high.
She laughed loudly on the outside, but a laugh no one can hear is completely pointless. All episode this episode, the narrator has been beaten Beatrice.
Not just the narrator.
Like, everyone has been dogging on her this episode, and I'm starting to feel bad for her. Oh.
Even this right here is a really sad, like, screenshot.
Beato gave up and quickly stopped laughing. Ronove chose that time to show himself.
Bronove, let's go. Excuse me, milady. The game of the second Twilight with Battler Summer has ended.
I see. Good work. What was the result?
My sincere apologies. I was forced to resign.
Dang.
By saying in red that both deaths were homicides, I made Battler Summer revise his claim of Rosa strangled Maria to death, then died in an accident. But I could not repeal his chain of moves, placing Ava as the principal offender.
Dang. We didn't see that part, did we?
We saw him.
We
say
saw
they
the
were both
beginnings of it,
murders.
but we didn't see the whole thing.
I can't recall.
Because I
know
think
that
it
he
was
said
like
in red both murders.
Yeah, he said that in red, but then I think it was like, all right, let's get into it, and then it went away to a different thing.
Yeah, I don't recall him saying it was Ava.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Wasn't Ava sleeping in her room the whole time as Hideyoshi cared for her?
He put forth the possibility that Hideyoshi was an accomplice, and that the two worked together to create an alibi.
Dang, he's good.
He even suspects Hideyoshi? Couldn't you have struck back by saying in red that he was in the guest room at the time of the murder?
I also thought of that, but multiple important pieces might have been taken several moves later. And because this move might be connected to the new Beatrice Summer strategy, I acted out of respect to her. My apologies.
Strategy, you say? Her mind does seem to be sharp. We can let her do as she pleases. It will be quite a show to see how far she can go.
I thought he would say that. I see that the uncuteness of your disciple has left you in a bad mood.
That's none of your business. I wonder how that one plans to destroy this barricade going forward. I shall keep a close eye on her. Oh, and how was Battler's mood?
It appeared as though he had calmed himself down. He did say that he couldn't get fired up after all without you as his opponent.
Dang.
Really? Well, that's no surprise at all. If I don't return for the fourth Twilight, and after, Battler will probably be lonely himself.
And with that, if you would excuse me, I need to go bake some delicious cookies. I must at least enliven the discussion between you and Battler Summer, milady.
Indeed.
She's so happy.
That guy really was munching your cookies, wasn't he? It's no surprise that a boy can eat so much.
She's so...
Make a lot of them.
Certainly. I shall make enough cookies to bury the table.
That sounds great.
Oh. Gets said one nice thing in passing. Mood
all it
immediately salvaged.
That's all it takes. Oh boy, here we go. Back in the real world. What's going on? What did you want to talk about?
Kyrie called Rudolph out into the corridor. It was obvious that she wanted to talk about something that she didn't want the others to hear.
Yeah?
I want to go outside.
Ooh. Beatrice just said that she had a thing that was going to work on someone smart. What did she do? What did she do?
Oh boy.
I'm gonna
guess
take a
we're
sip,
gonna see.
'cause I think we got something crazy about to happen.
Oh, are they just straight up going out? We're not even gonna have conversation about it. We're just going. I mean, I believe that Kyrie could convince anyone. Yeah, we need to go outside for something.
Certainly, the body cannot last with nothing more than a small breakfast, but
1 second, I'm pulling up. A file.
but no.
Okay. Of course, we understand. Still, as time passes, it'll get darker and darker out. It's probably at its brightest now. It's the most convenient time.
Only about an hour has passed since Rosa-san was attacked. This is simply too reckless. It was only natural that Natsuhi was yelling about recklessness. After all, Rudolph had said that he was going to the mansion to get food. Has Kyrie figured out where the gold is? And that's why she wants to go outside? Certainly, on top of their fatigue, their hunger was tormenting them. In the beginning, a mild level of hunger had been just what they needed to fight off drowsiness. However, it now just made their minds hazy, since it was still only midday and their bodies felt like they were reaching their limits. The thought of going to the kitchen in the mansion and bringing back some food was certainly attractive. I am opposed to this. It may be a little rough, but we definitely shouldn't leave this place.
Don't worry about us, but it would pain my heart to keep the children hungry. I must be responsible as a parent.
Dear, now that father is dead, you are the Ushiromiya family head. It is not permissible for you to take on such a danger. You're right. It's like Natsuhi-san says. Cross-san, you should remain here as our leader. I feel like Beatrice has given her a hint which had her figure out where the gold is, and now she's going to be like, hubby, I'm going to take you to where the gold is so that we can win.
Then who will go to the mansion?
I think it should be Kyrie and me, and Hideyoshi-san too.
Oh, Hideyoshi.
Hideyoshi-san and I have guns.
Oh, no, that makes sense, because Rudolph, in every board before this, Rudolph has been gunning for an alliance with Eva and Hideyoshi. So that still holds up. That still holds up about the gold thing.
They shouldn't be able to lay a hand on us that easily.
Rosa-san also had a gun, but she was attacked. Won't it be dangerous?
When I went out to check on Rosa and Maria-chan, I had a gun, but I was alone. And yet, I wasn't attacked.
It's wild when Kraus and Natsuhi are being the two most responsible adults in the situation. Not really Natsuhi, but Natsuhi's generally overbearing in responsibility, but just having both of them be the ones who are like, maybe we shouldn't leave. Maybe we should stay where it's safe and, like, just be hungry for a day, you know, because we only have to be here for a day. Oh.
They're really hungry, Levi. You don't get it. Maybe they'll be cautious if their opponent is a man.
We'll have 2 men. And even 2 guns. Those 2 will act as guards, and I'll transport our cargo using a cart. I believe the situation will be significantly different than it was for Rosa-san.
You haven't seen Rosa-san in action, Kyrie.
True.
If you're counting on me because I'm a man, I'd be happy to help. I may not look it, but I'm built up pretty strong from pushing food stands around. Leave the heavy lifting to me.
That reminds me, by the way, but I found an image of Rosa from the manga. I'm going to send it to you real quick on Messenger.
Okay.
Because it's crazy. This is from episode 2, so we've already seen it in this.
You men can devote yourselves to guarding. There's a folding cart in the servant room, and using that I should be able to handle carrying the food.
Holy moly.
I know, right?
Dang.
She's terrifying.
She really do be Rosa Umineko.
It's real.
This is my Rosa Umineko. Of course, we'll be careful. And if we can succeed in this adventure just once, there won't be any need for us to take risks again.
Every Rosa has its Umineko.
Is there any way I can get you to rethink this? It may be painful for everyone to deal with empty stomachs, but even so, we do not know what is happening outside now.
We'll take care. And Ava's feeling pretty darn bad right now. We can't let her stay hungry. If her stomach's empty, she can't take her medicine. I have to go out for Ava's sake as well.
How is Ava?
Looks like she's finally gotten to sleep. She has a high fever. If we just leave her for a while...
You can't just stand still when it comes to your wife's health.
That's rich.
Yeah.
Understood. I'll give you permission to go outside.
Then we'll take a little trip there and back. A speed contest. Canned food's okay, right? You at least have a can opener here, don't you?
Yes. We have a can opener and a bottle opener. There's running water in the guest house, so we won't need anything to drink. We need to get 10 people's worth, so no being picky about what you get.
All right. Why don't we dash out and bring it back quickly? There's no time to open umbrellas.
See ya, Aniki. I'll trust you to look after this place.
Take care. Under normal circumstances, I'd want to go too. Being a man, I despise how this title of the oldest brother prevents me from lending a hand in an emergency like this.
This is about the only time we get to show off. Sit back and take it easy every once in a while, Aniki. Okay. Nazi-san, wait here and get some towels ready or something. We aren't using umbrellas, so we'll be soaked to the bone when we get back.
Understood. Take care.
Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi, each leaving their own brave words behind, left the lobby.
It's also funnier to me if Kyrie hasn't explained anything about the gold at all, and Rudolph and Hideyoshi both are like, yeah, we're going to get food.
Can't wait to get food.
Yeah.
Compared to the time Rosa and Maria had gone outside, the winds were much stronger. Rudolph's group of 3 people jogged through the rose garden without umbrellas, holding their guns and a folded cart. Or are they actually just going to get food? Is the rug going to be pulled out from under me and I'm just crazy and overthinking everything?
Perhaps.
If everything had been still and quiet, without the wind and the rain, they would probably have kept their ears open and moved with caution. But in this rain, even if some suspicious person was hiding nearby, it would be difficult to notice them. Because of that, it had been Rudolph's plan to instead dash through that dangerous area.
If there was a chance their opponent was equipped with a gun, then walking slowly with their guard up would only make them targets. Taking swift action was probably the correct choice.
The Rose Guard. Feels like we're just asking to be attacked.
Please, let nobody come out of there.
Even as Rudolph and Hideyoshi continued to run, they looked around relentlessly, vigilant of their surroundings. Rosa and Maria's deaths had not been caused by a projectile weapon. However, it was easy to suspect that the servants had been killed in such a manner. Will they come flying out of the dark? Or will they take careful aim and snipe from the shadows? Either way, they couldn't relax their tension for even an instant. But even so, when they reached the overhang in front of the entrance to the mansion and escaped the reach of the raindrops, they felt themselves breathing a sigh of relief.
No problems for the first step. Unlike how it was for Rosa-san. Maybe they can't get their hands on us easily.
I'd like to believe that. Kyrie, unlock the door while we keep a lookout.
Sure. Returning home to the mansion with a pair of SPs makes me feel just like an executive.
If we had a welcoming party of servants with a red carpet, it'd be perfect.
A welcoming party, huh? You never know. Be careful.
As the two cautiously surveyed their surroundings, Kyrie unlocked the entrance with the master key she had been given. It's open.
Hideyoshi-san, could you take the front? I'll keep an eye on the rear.
Understood. Kyrie-san, try not to move from my shadow. Okay, let's break in.
Rear guard, roger that. Covering.
What? What's this RP that Rudolph's doing right now?
Does it not make complete perfect sense?
It does.
I think all men would do this if
Yeah.
given a chance.
Men.
See?
He's so stupid. I love him so much. Even in a situation like this, you're just playing around, aren't you?
Give it up. That's how men are. Seriously, though, that stench is awful.
Oh yeah, there's several dead bodies in this mansion that have not been cleaned. It felt like the air in the mansion was stagnant with a gloomy silence. And on top of that, it was still thick with the stench from Kinzo's burnt corpse in the boiler room, and they were struck with an uncontrollable desire to leave the mansion.
No problems in the front. Just a short dash to the kitchen.
Let's finish this quickly and head home. This suit will get fumigated with dead stench.
The three of them dashed towards the kitchen.
Uh,
And after they disappeared from the entrance hall, the new witch appeared there.
They were lured out just as planned.
Did she just make them feel more hungry? Like, what?
maybe.
Just as planned, they got caught in my trap.
Because I was thinking of, like, the intellectual trap of being like, oh, tell one of them where the gold is, and then they'll go back into infighting mode. But apparently no, this was much simpler than I thought it was going to be. The witch grinned. Thinking about it now, no matter how unbearable their hunger had grown, it hadn't even been a few hours since Rosa and Maria had been attacked and had lost their lives. In that case, why had they needed to recklessly leave the guest house? Until that question could be dealt with, the only answer was that they had been called out by the witch's magic.
There you go, Levi. So even there, like, it's not just hunger, or something happened.
Stupid Battler, witches aren't real.
What reckless people. They'll never leave this mansion alive. Seal yourself, lock. Seal yourself, mansion.
The instant she proclaimed that, The mansion was sealed off into a separate world. Unless her barrier was undone, no longer would anyone be able to exit this mansion or enter it.
Spectacular. To think that even though barely half a day has passed since you succeeded the Endless Witch, you can use magic this well. That talent surprises me. It's almost as though you were born a witch.
Well, I have been a witch since the time of my birth. Who taught you how to blink? That's what using magic is like for me.
What a fearsome person.
The witch's face twisted with brutality. She just couldn't help looking forward to toying with someone's life again.
Well then. First up is Rudolph and Kyrie, but in what cruel way should I kill them?
If you don't mind me saying, your predecessor Sama has left instructions that you are to restrain yourself from committing murders of unnecessary cruelty. And there is an etiquette for offering the sacrifices from the fourth twilight onwards. For that, you must borrow the power of the 7 Sisters of Purgatory.
Gouge the X and kill.
Oh, really? Now that you mention it, that's right. I could only play as I like with that second twilight. Boring. Just when I thought I could play to my heart's content like I did with Rosa.
The joy in these ones is setting up the mystery, Beatrice. That's what you gotta do with these ones.
But that only counts for how they're killed in the end, right?
Meaning?
I could just kill them however I want, over and over again, revive them, and then follow the epitaph during the last time I kill them, right? So, in the end, no matter how I play, it isn't a problem. Who'd act well behaved with an entertaining power like this?
Her absurd argument was, for an endless witch, an extremely valid one. The etiquette that controlled the manner of killing the sacrifices of the fourth twilight and onward was represented by lines like "gouge the head." However, that referred to the way those people died in the end. Bow, 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 bow. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. She just had to keep on reviving them, then follow the rules only when she killed them the final time. Though Ronove felt that her innocent cruelty was part of her talent as a witch, he was beginning to notice an innately brutal side of her.
They do say that apprentices are the most brutal of witches, and now I see this may be true. Do as you wish, is what I would like to say, but here it may actually be wiser to show restraint.
Ronove out here like, please, you're making it so hard for me to argue with Battler.
Yeah.
You are giving him so many pieces.
They have guns. Weapons with a high anti-magic power, such as guns, are the natural enemies of witches and demons.
Dang. I mean, I guess it makes sense based off how they explained it, because, like, you're gonna think if you have a gun, you're pretty safe, because a gun can kill almost anything, right? So... The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who was surprisingly afraid of guns.
That can't be right.
I don't think it's that the gun is actually dangerous, Beatrice. I think it's that the human thinks it's capable of hurting you, so then it, in a roundabout way, does become that. Although it didn't in the first episode. But also that bullet it didn't hit Beatrice, it was redirected, so actually we don't know.
Who knows?
Shouldn't witches be able to take a shot from a bullet easily?
No. It would be just as fatal for a witch as it would be for a normal human.
Dang!
To prevent that weak point from being noticed, most witches rigorously strengthen their guard with a defense of protective barriers and furniture.
Do I have any of those protective barrier things?
Constructing a barrier to make even gun bullets ineffective requires much in the way of preparation and ceremonies. I am afraid to say that Beatrice-sama currently has none of those. Furthermore, you are currently ill-prepared to summon furniture strong enough to block a bullet.
Dang.
So even though I've become a great witch with this much magical power, I really do have to be afraid of lead bullets.
Hey, lead
She is upset.
Lead is the anti-magic metal. So
Look how angry she is. Oh, it went away.
It's annoying, but I don't have a choice.
unless Runaways just lying.
He could.
He could just be lying because like he doesn't like her or something. I don't...
So, in that case, should I call some furniture to act as my arms and legs?
Yes. Leaving everything to your servants while not exposing yourself to danger is also a part of a witch's refined tastes. Beatrice-sama, leave this to the furniture and hide in a safe place.
Beatrice-sama, leave this to the furniture.
True.
I get it. I call on the 7 Sisters of Purgatory.
No, they're gonna get shot!
I don't care who, any two.
Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call.
Leviathan of Envy right here.
Pretty sure Belphegor's the man.
No, Mammon is the
Mammon's
man.
the man.
I don't know what I did for Belphegor. Let's go with Cowgirl. I don't know. Belphegor's sloth right here.
Show me your power. Your targets are Rudolph and Kyrie. Don't attack Hideyoshi. Come on, show me just how cruel you can be, furniture. My apologies, but we've received orders from the predecessor Sama to refrain from unnecessary cruel actions.
But I think the predecessor Sama order does give us some leeway to tease them. Do you still want to go through with it?
I get it. I'll compromise. Don't let them die easily. Thoroughly corner them and let them taste the fear of death before killing them. Will that be okay, Ronove?
Yes, depending on the degree, I do not believe there will be a problem.
Then go!
Yes, leave it to us.
Your opponents are armed with guns.
It would be really funny to me if both of them were immediately like, what?
I'm out of here!
I don't want to do this anymore!
For those such as you, dodging them should be easy. But if you are hit, the wound will be fatal. Proceed with an appropriate level of caution.
Don't worry, we aren't that incompetent.
There we go.
The 2 Sisters of Purgatory vanished. Ronove bowed and vanished himself. I think thematically it's okay for the 7 Sisters' voices to constantly be changing.
Yeah.
They are demons.
I mean, especially
So,
they're
like-
under new management too.
Yeah.
There are even rules on how to kill them. Why do I have to be constrained by my predecessor, Sama? It's so rigid and boring.
Gah. Gah.
As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor Beatrice hung in the hall, she cursed. That ain't the right portrait. The 3 people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Considering the possibility of poison, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. This should be more than enough for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That should carry them until the boat arrives. The 2 men were supposed to be focused on solely on guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kyrie even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to the cart pusher, and Rudolph and his wife took up the task of guard duty. With all this, even George and the kids will be full.
trip back will be a picnic, so let's go.
When Hideyoshi vigorously announced their departure, Kyrie frowned and seemed to be gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, there was the main hall beyond it.
What is it, Kyrie?
It's vague, but I've got a bad feeling gnawing at me. Kyrie stopped walking and narrowed her eyes even further. Oh.
She has X-ray vision. Women's intuition.
At times like this, Kyrie's intuition often rang true, even when she didn't have a logical reason. The smartest of today.
Milk. Man, I love Kyrie.
Give me a Photoshop of Rudolph wearing that hat.
Real.
Rudolph believed in that intuition. Yes. Someone's probably waiting to ambush us. I didn't sense them before, but just now, I felt it. Just now, someone set up an ambush for us.
Then there's no reason to go back the way we came. There's a back door over there, right? Like, I was right behind him.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't Canon come in here through an outside door one time?
Yeah. Let's leave that way.
I guess it's locked, so it doesn't matter, but... Rudolph made to unlock the back door. When goods were carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a ramp used to carry things in. Surely, they would be able to leave through there with the cart.
What the heck? It's stuck. Damn, what's going on?
Can't you open it?
Nope. Is it broken? It isn't giving an inch.
Dang.
Yeah.
Rudolph tried various things, first using force, then coaxing it, but the lock was hard as stone and didn't even budge.
Don't force it. Let's leave through the front entrance. Right now, it'll be even worse if we stand around wasting time.
Did somebody, like, chain the lock on the other side?
Oh. I mean, if we're
Clever, the killer.
Yeah, if we're going by the way this would have to be done without magic, I would assume they could have just pushed something large.
That too, they could have just blocked it up with like a chair or something.
Yeah.
I was thinking they brought a chain and like wrapped it around the door on the other side. Either way works. You think this is a trap?
I don't know. Be careful.
It's a gamble too, because if they had decided to go in from that side, it wouldn't have worked.
With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance.
Who is it?
The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolph noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaves started blowing, and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold color.
Oh boy. I can't believe it. A lowly human predicted our ambush.
It isn't my fault. I was hiding my presence. Don't hesitate. Fire!
Huh.
Ain't no way. The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magical defense of the pair as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the two figures that should have been there had disappeared. Certainly guns were frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. At least, they at least had enough speed to dodge those. Wait a sec! You won't even give us a chance to say our names? This is why I hate humans. Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting.
In accordance with Beatrice-sama's orders, we will hunt you down. Our orders tell us to make it take some time and to tease you. You are free to resist, but know that it will be useless.
I feel like the teasing order is going to be what dooms them here.
Mm.
That voice came from overhead. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile.
Hiding on the chandelier.
What?
Don't resist!
What are these girls? Forget the cart. We have 2 opponents, so if we split up, they can't chase all of us. All 3 of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in separate directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape.
In a tight spot, escaping is victory.
3 of them ran into the depths of the mansion at full tilt. That pair of furniture calmly watched them go. I'll kill the woman. You take the man.
Understood. Oh, we're getting this theme. I love this theme.
The furniture in the shadows of the pillars and on the chandelier made their figures explode. And leaving behind only a sound of a hopping beetle knocking against the wall, they pursued their respective targets.
This is World End Dominator, by the way. I do remember
Classic, a classic.
Mm-hmm.
This has been with us since episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Their speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the others' paths of retreat.
Let's see what this furniture's got. I hope they're at least able to amuse me.
Beatrice, it may not be prudent for you to reveal your form unnecessarily.
And you don't unnecessarily move your king away from the center. That's part of a monarch's and a witch's dignity.
There you have it.
Unless you castle.
Nuh-uh.
Belphegor was already blocking the way in front of Rudolph, who had boldly tried to escape to the 2nd floor. Dang, mans was gonna jump from a 2nd-story window.
It's useless to try and resist or escape. You don't need to think about anything. Just close your eyes. I'll gently end it all for you.
You'd make a good wife.
What do you mean by this, Rudolph?
Husbands love to hear that kind of thing when they come home all tired.
Okay, that's what he means by that.
To think you're still relaxed enough to speak with such insolence at a time like this. Beatrice-sama, thank you for this excellent prey. Die!
Huh! Rudolph shot first.
Dang.
But even before the bullet could hit her, Belphegor had already moved behind Rudolph's back. She then raised a purple curve springing from her arm. However, incredibly, before that arm could decapitate Rudolph, he had swung his gun behind him. The barrel remained pointing behind his back from the same motion with which he had reloaded the sawed-off gun one-handedly. It was pointing right at Belphegor's chest. Click-ca-clunk. It was the sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. Without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belphegor's chest, Rudolph grinned.
Not bad. For a middle-aged man.
Don't look down on the generation that loves old westerns, okay? You brats don't know anything about the refinement of a lever action.
Ain't no way.
Huh!
Just like Rudolph, Kyrie was also confronting a demon stake in the 1st floor corridor. Okay, she doesn't have a gun.
No, she does. She traded with
Oh, that's
Hideyoshi.
right. That's right. Hideyoshi's sprite just had the gun.
Yeah.
This is really funny how this has worked out. How it's both the 2 of us with
Yeah.
Arya.
What a moron. You could have just escaped with your husband. You do know that was your final farewell just now, right? Don't worry. This kind of thing is my husband's speciality. I'm sure he'll come for me on a white horse soon. Because he's never failed to come and save me when I'm in trouble. Not even when Asumu-san was around.
These 2 always died at the beginning of the last 2.
What a happy couple. I'm jealous. I am Leviathan of Envy.
Envy itself is my power. My anger, my lifeblood. I agree. Envy is the source of a woman's power. And if that is power, I won't lose to a girl like you. Imagine saying that to the one who governs envy. You actually think I'd let you two be reunited? I'll give you a tragic farewell.
The arm Leviathan swung was trailed by a purple curve. It was a magic blade that cut with the power of malice. Kyrie blocked it with her gun. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun... Why is that in... You're making me lose my mind, Umineko. Why is gun in quotes? The gun, with its extremely high magic resistance power, was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled up newspaper. Rapidly, 2 times, 3 times, it blocked all of them. And without missing the opening created when that purple curve took a swing upward, Kyrie kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. Leviathan was knocked away like a lightly dancing feather. Before the demon's stake feet touched the ground again, Kyrie was already pointing her gun directly at Leviathan in mid-air. From that position, the 2 women who had called envy a form of power met each other's gaze.
Can you do it? Can you pull that trigger?
Ha!
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Gotta get that CG.
Holy moly. What a shot.
Isn't it?
I can be brutal when my husband isn't around.
I refuse to believe it was that easy. For both of them.
Well, maybe. Ow, wow, 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 wow.
Rudolph tumbled down the staircase. He had been gradually cornered by Belphegor and had been pushed back into the main hall they'd started from.
The predecessor Summer's furniture is pretty good. They aren't very flashy, though.
Beatrice, Summer. It isn't over yet, and it's dangerous to show yourself. Don't tell me you're... Ava?
That used to be my name, but it's different now, Rudolph.
You don't have to tell me.
Dang.
You're gonna say you're the Golden Witch Beatrice, right?
How did you know?
Since the time Rosa was killed, I had a vague idea. Rosa, forgive me. Forgive me for sending the sister you hated down to the hell you're in.
Damn, Rudolph! What a line!
Y'all just you wait.
Such a hard line! Oh my god!
Beatrice, Summer, look out!
Rudolph mercilessly pointed the barrel of his gun at the witch who claimed to have been his sister. But Belphegor would not permit that and attacked savagely. She dashed, disappeared, and headed for Rudolph's back. She dodged that shot and again headed for Rudolph's back. And vanished over and over, instantly moving into Rudolph's blind spots.
Shoot.
It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of vision, Belphegor incessantly drove towards Rudolph.
Maybe this is kind of fun. Rudolph, let me sit back and watch to see how long your brave efforts last you.
At that time, there was a dull tearing sound, along with Rudolph's cry of anguish. Rudolph's reaction to the dance of the purple curve that pressed upon him had finally been too slow, and he'd let it lightly cut his flank. That single wound slowed him down just once. That led to a new wound which slowed his actions again. Belphegor's dance began to swallow Rudolph whole. Watching Rudolph's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kyrie hadn't suffered a single fatal wound.
I really am a moron.
Among the 7 sisters, I was always the slowest to grow. I was always slow, always weak, always stupid. That inferiority complex became envy. And when I convert that into power, I gain a strength greater than that of any of the sisters. It's important for young girls to have a moderate inferiority complex. It teaches women about cosmetics and hard work. I don't like having to use the limits of my power against mere humans, but I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. I don't like it. Why are you so relaxed when you're fighting for your own life? I wonder. I get it. You're fully convinced that your husband will come to your rescue and save you. Isn't it incredible, that trust of yours? It's enough to make me jealous. What kind of trust did we sisters have for each other? The sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other when things already look bad. I've always been bullied by my sisters. I've always wanted just one person to take my side. So when I see you with a single ally who's completely trustworthy, I feel the strongest envy. Ah, that confident expression of utter belief in your husband. I can feel it giving me power. I might even surpass that. The speed of sound.
Leviathan turned herself into a stake, and the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy.
Since the day my sisters looked down on me, I was jealous from the bottom of my heart of the other 6 who grew quickly. I was jealous for 7 days and 7 nights. You can see the power I gained as a result in my speed. Die, Ushiromiya Kyrie!
The demon stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise from her bouncing off the wall sounded like a machine gun. By now, Kyrie probably couldn't tell if it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was over 100% certain of her victory, believing in it from the bottom of her heart. Then, Kyrie spoke with an unbelievably calm voice.
I was the one who went out with Rudolph-san first. Asumu-san blatantly cut in between us, and shrewdly got pregnant. I don't blame Rudolph-san. That woman used her body as a weapon to seduce him, and then acted even more repulsively, cornering Rudolph-san and forcing him to get engaged to her. Asumu-san had been carrying Battler-kun, and at the same time, I was also carrying a boy. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we getting lower in the middle of a fight?
As fate would have it, our delivery dates were on the same day. Then, Asumu-san gave birth to Battler-kun, but I had a miscarriage. I think about it sometimes. What if Asumu-san had that miscarriage, and I had been the one to give birth? Would Rudolph-san have broken off his engagement and married me? But I couldn't give birth to my child. So until Asumu-san died, and until I got pregnant with Anji, I cursed Asumu-san and was jealous. Let Asumu-san die. Then I want him to marry me. In my envy, I kept cursing like that over and over until Asumu-san finally died. I was certain that I'd use the power of magic to curse and kill Asumu-san. But that didn't quell the flames of my envy. Don't tell anyone, okay? Every time I look at Battler-kun, I remember that woman. Every single time I look at him. I think that if only my child had been born, he would be the same age. I'm still jealous of her, tormented by her. Even now and from now on, into the future, for all eternity. You say you were jealous of your sisters for 7 days and 7 nights? That's right. Don't make me laugh, little girl.
How could you understand the madness of a woman whose man was stolen from her and who's burned with envy for 18 years? What? If Leviathan had the power of 24 hours times 7 days, or 168 hours of speed, then the power that Kyrie had piled up was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, that was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then, even if Leviathan could soar at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour, to Kyrie's eyes, it only looked like 1/938th of that. Which means 1,225 divided by 938, what is a speed of 1.3 kilometers per hour. They say a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour, so it was even less than half of that. This is almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor. What? Why is this the humans dogging on the magic people episode? What is happening?
The adults live this time. There's a
Which
reason they
means-
keep dying.
Which means... Also, the reveal that Kyrie has actually just been crazy this whole time.
Yeah, I love her line of the 18 years.
In the time it took the demon stake to move at a pace so slow that you could count all the bits of dust floating through the air, Kyrie looked at it with pity. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her.
Look at that!
Then she lazily raised the barrel of her gun, almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with the gun barrel. You're completely lacking in both romance and envy. Try harder next time, little girl. Sorry, I'm not making any noise because I'm just sitting here with the goofiest smile on my face from that whole scene.
Ever since we started this episode, I've been waiting for this.
Holy.
I'll tell you now, this chapter is entitled Battle to the Death in the Hall.
Holy!
Yeah. Anyway.
Rudolph ain't gonna be the White Knight.
Oh.
Rudolph, what happened to all that vigor from a couple seconds ago? You're supposed to slice up a fish while it's still flopping around. After it dies, it isn't interesting anymore. That's enough. Why not kill you now?
Damn it.
I'm surprised you managed to endure this long after being carved up. That's enough. From now on, you don't need to think about anything. I'll steal away your life painlessly.
Where did Hideyoshi go during all of this?
He ran somewhere. Kyrie said, split up, and he said, Roger.
Yep, got it, Chief. I'm out of here.
Wait, there's a favor I want to ask.
This just adds even more to the Hideyoshi seeing all of the magic stuff happening.
True.
He's just spectating all, like, I like to think he's like in the middle of a hallway that splits between the hallway Kyrie's in and here. And so he just keeps running back and forth.
It was right there. At the very end, I want to do one of those.
What do you mean, one of those?
You know, that thing you see in all the westerns. Start with our backs together, walk 3 steps, and then bang.
Oh, duel. Very well. If that will satisfy your regrets in this world, I'll accept.
Rudolph moved his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Belphegor responded and turned her back to his. Belphegor had an honest nature that was uncommon in a witch's furniture.
Let me warn you, even if you press the barrel of your gun between my eyebrows, I can move instantaneously, even faster than you could pull the trigger and have the bullet reach my skull.
Which one is Belphegor again? Which
I
sin?
don't know. I was getting ready to work it out over here. Because we know this is envy.
Oh, there she was, dang it!
This is greed.
Come on, there she is.
Does
Belphegor.
it not say?
It does not say.
Okay, hold on. So, Asmodeus is lust, Satan is wrath, Beelzebub is gluttony,
Yep.
Mammon is greed, Leviathan is envy.
Yep.
That leaves Belphegor and Lucifer.
Is she
So that
sloth?
leaves Sloth and another one.
I think she said sloth because Lucifer's pride.
Okay, then yeah.
So yeah, she's sloth. Okay. Interesting that sloth is the one that's like slightly honorable.
Yeah.
I would think it would be pride.
Oh. Yeah, I can feel that already. You're faster than a bullet.
I have agreed to this out of respect for your courage in challenging me to a duel despite that knowledge. Thank me.
Well, you're an honest and principled person. And a good woman. You might just steal my heart away.
Let's begin.
He's reminding her too much of Battler.
3 steps will do fine, yes? First, 1 step.
2 step. Oh, sorry, that's him. 2 steps.
3 steps. Is that okay?
Yep. And since you still haven't noticed after walking 3 whole steps, it's my victory, miss.
What?
Ah! He straight up didn't move ever.
He
did
didn't move. He didn't move. He just cheated. He just lied.
Very in character.
Rudolph turned around and fired a bullet. However, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. Shouldn't have said anything, Rudolph. You should have just went for it. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an adequate magical defensive barrier, but before an incarnation of anti-magic power such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless.
She tried to parry instead of dodge.
What are you doing? Why'd you get hit?
The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. The pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic.
Forgive me. I'm a coward of a man.
What a killjoy! To think that furniture of a witch could be defeated by a human. Know your shame. Worthless, pathetic. If only you just grovel and die.
Quit it, Anaki. She could have dodged it, but she didn't. She realized that you were in the line of fire, Anaki. So this faithful girl took it without dodging, protecting you. At the very end, she saw that I was pinning the rook and the king. Ha! There's the castle, Levi.
Yep. Shouldn't have kept the king in the center.
Spectacular.
Should have castled.
Don't hate me for it. I plan to resign if you noticed it while you were taking those 3 steps. You added those 3 steps out of consideration for me, didn't you? I didn't even try to think about it. I was lazy.
Cause she's sloth.
Because she's sloth, oh my gosh. You were a good woman. Go to heaven before me and get yourself all made up.
Ah, well, there's a thing about that, Rudolph. Kind of a demon.
I'll definitely come and chat you up. It's okay, I don't think he's going to heaven either.
No, I don't think.
I don't think.
As Belphegor slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in human form, and she grew small, like gold dust, melting into thin air.
Dang.
At that point, Kyrie dashed in. It seemed that she had somehow defeated her pursuer by her own hands. As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolph. Are you okay? Were you chatting someone up just now?
Yep, a good woman. No match for you, of course. Sorry, Aneki. It's checkmate.
The two of them pinned the witch down the barrels of their guns.
Worthless furniture. To think they'd be beaten by human opponents. Worthless. Stupid. Boring.
Beatrice, Summer, we should retreat for now. There is no furniture or barrier to guard against bullets here.
Is that the first time we've gotten the pointy teeth?
Maybe, I can't remember.
The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. It surprised not only Rudolph and Kyrie, but Ronove as well. Because a situation like this, with 2 guns pointed at her, was not one that even a witch could just laugh off. But the witch laughed with pleasure.
Well, it's only natural that the predecessor Summer's worn-out furniture couldn't do it. I need to get new furniture that's suitable for me. I use them out of obligation, but I've always hated second-hand stuff.
As she said that, she looked down at Belphegor's remains, which had already finished turning into a pile of gold dust, with disgust.
I don't know what you're talking about. Be a good girl and put your hands up.
Just shoot her! Don't try to negotiate, just kill her! Then the witch obediently raised her hands. But instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton.
Come, arise, furniture suitable for me. And not that cheap furniture, much stronger ones. Cruel ones. Yeah.
Stop this bizarre act. I'll pull the trigger.
Are you ready, Levi?
Probably not. They should have just shot her.
Yeah.
In response to the witch's call, the hall was once again buried with the color of gold. As the brilliantly radiant gold butterflies danced, it felt as though they were being sucked into an ocean of gold leaf. Ronove was shocked at this upsurge in magical power. After all, it far surpassed that of his former master. As their eyes were dazzled amidst this golden flash, a gunshot could be heard. Either Rudolph or Kyrie had fired a round. Then, when the golden flash subsided, at the very least the witch was standing there looking cool and composed. The bullet? Kyrie must have fired it into her. But the witch had not been hit anywhere on her body. There it is. The bullet had been fastened in midair right in front of the witch's chest.
A bulletproof barrier?
In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor had been... Ronove's face was twisted in shock. And the surprises did not end there. She would pull some horse piss like this.
Yeah.
The cloud of gold butterflies had created 2 humanoid forms. Oh boy. You don't understand. 90% of the furniture has to be hot anime women.
Oh yeah, they do.
It was a furniture summoning.
That's how they defeat the power of magic.
The butterflies
Or
peeled off
anti-magic.
and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves. Can't replace the 7 stakes in my heart.
The Jester Sister Corps. Even the predecessor wasn't able to summon Pendragon's memorial troops on a moment's notice, and to do it so easily.
All of those words are things I know, but they do not fit together.
I don't like that. Oh. Alright, so that's you, Levi, and I'll tell you, you can probably infer, but she's supposed to be a Genki girl.
Genki!
Yeah.
Is it Chaster or Chyster?
Okay, so in the anime, because they don't have that sound, they say siester. But I'm saying, take your pick.
If it's supposed to be based off of Arthurian stuff, probably
Yeah.
Chyster, I would think.
Works for me.
Chyster 410, right here.
Shyster 45, right here. Sorry, I'm writing it down in the notes so I
Yep.
don't forget.
Yep.
Huh. New characters, yay!
Yay!
Alright.
You two are suitable furniture for me, I take it.
From reading a picture book out loud to going on a date to shooting down meteorites. We'll take care of anything.
What are you? Hold on. I gotta remember what her personality is. I'm gonna try to do Corin, if I can do that. I'm gonna try to manifest Corin right now.
If we don't take care of it, Pendragon-sama will get mad at us. Please, your orders, great Lady Beatrice.
Rudolph-san, let's run for it. We're no match for these ones.
Sure.
Kyrie definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head. Also, not to break up everything that's going on right now, but heavily implied now that Kyrie also knows about magic in some form or the other.
You're...
So,
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. She's been playing dumb this whole time about it.
She's been dead this whole time.
True, she has been dead, but at the same time, in the brief times we've gotten to see her, she's been in her detective mode. Which also, now that brings me back full circle, does the imagery on her character design actually have meaning, and it's not just her character design looking like that because Japanese people think that's cool. Because she has a cross on her tie. And I've always been curious about that. If it was just one of those things that like they were like, oh, we like Christian imagery, we think it's cool, or if it actually has something important going on there.
You've always been curious about it.
I've been curious about it. Now I'm going from being Battler pilled to being Kyrie pilled. Oh, also poor Kyrie.
Yeah.
I feel bad for her because you can tell that like she wants to like Battler, but what she said earlier, that just makes me feel bad for her because like it's not her fault that she feels that way about him, and it's not Battler's fault that she feels that way about him.
Yeah, it's just one of them things.
It recontextualizes every scene they've been in together for me, and it makes
does.
me feel sad.
Yeah. The Umineko has insane rewatch/replay ability because of how much you learn.
Because even though Battler is always like, oh, she's like a big sister to me, blah, 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 Kyrie is a pretty good motherly figure to him for the absence of his birth mother being there. So that makes me feel sad. Anyways.
Every scene that she's in with him, she acts completely composed and is nice to him, pretty nice to him. But now that you know how she's truly felt this whole time, it's like, wow, you're really good at that. Like,
Yep. And also, did Battler see that? Because
real Battler, like Purgatory Battler, probably did, yeah.
that makes me feel bad for him too now. Dang.
Oops.
I would be so torn up
Yeah.
Kyrie definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head, thanks to the I skipped a line there.
The 7?
Thanks to the same feeling
Sorry.
that that had alerted her to the ambush by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Yeah, this Beatrice is just better than the last one, actually, and too bad. Sucks
True.
for you.
She's smart.
Without hesitation, they escaped. But the entire mansion's sealed off, so it's just a matter of time, and they're going to die. As the witch elegantly watched them leave, she commanded her new furniture.
This is an order. Kill the 2 who ran away. Then bring the corpses back here. I'll bring them back to life and play with them over and over.
Where's Genji to put a stop to this when you need him?
I know, right?
The witch's expression twisted into an evil smile. Even though she feared that expression, Lucifer appeared and spoke.
Oh, hey.
Oh boy. But forgive my presumption, but the predecessor Sama asked that you avoid brutal actions of that sort. When the witch stared at her with those terrifying eyes, Lucifer was struck dumb. She was frustrated. It was so boring not being able to let her own power and cruelty run wild. This annoying furniture of the predecessor kept telling her to show restraint, bringing her irritation to a peak. Oh, it's Lucifer of Pride. Long time no seen ya, huh? How you doing? Let's play together again sometime.
You mustn't whisper, 410. You'll get in trouble. Let us carry out the great Lady Beatrice's order at once.
Well, yeah, we are on the job right now, yeah.
Booted?
Firing guiding system.
That is an
and then,
F.
And then it's in Greek after that.
Yeah.
In ancient Greek.
Weird.
Or maybe modern Greek. I can't tell.
Well, yeah, we are.
Oh wait, I already read that.
410, roger that. Preparing for sniping pursuit combat.
Initializing or initiating
Data collection.
Yep. That's you.
Accumulating terrain data. Accumulating data for firing. Data link with 410.
Forming, firing, curve.
410 data received. Target lock acquired. Commencing terrain calculation error correction. Formulating firing curve. Supplemental control point calculations complete.
This is all in caps.
Data link to 45.
Firing preparation complete.
Preparations complete.
Accuracy 97.89%.
89%.
45. Data received. Checking hazard zone. Oh, that's no good.
Lucifer-chan, better get out from behind us, or you'll get roasted by the backblast.
Huh?
Thanks to their paired measurements, the Cheister sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain through the mansion and the coordinates of their targets, as well as firing curve to reach them. That's right, their shots could be guided to follow a curved line. None could escape. The precision guidance used by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was nothing more than a cheap knockoff of the ability these two held.
45. Firing preparations concluded. Ammo type selected and loaded.
As the two of them faced each other, it was as though they were both pulling back a bowstring together. A dazzling gold arrow was readied there.
410. Firing.
After giving that announcement, they released a single arrow together. As the path taken by the gold sparkling snake of light drew a curve, it followed the direction that Rudolph and Kyrie had escaped to in rapid pursuit. It turned through the corridor, crawled over the floor, chasing them as it drew a beautiful curve. No one could block the guided shots of the Cheister sisters. No one could escape from them.
and their strength could pierce all physical and magical defenses. Hey, just instant kill, it's instant kill button for free. Just instant kill button.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did all this hard work to actually save your own life, but Beatrice just gets to win anyways, though, actually, stupid. It was quite a merciless guide to weapon of certain death. However, among mythical class soldiers, it was a weapon used by pretty much everyone. Everyone uses it. It's a commonplace, it's a regular weapon that everyone uses, you know? It was very commonplace for them, and very extraordinary for those of the everyday world.
What the?
When he noticed something rapidly chasing them and turned around, the exact position of Rudolph's heart was pierced by the gold snake. It all happened in an instant. Rudolph-san? After the gold snake pierced Rudolph, it swooped down to the floor, drawing a beautiful spiral, coiled itself around Kyrie's legs, and crawled up to her chest. And just like Rudolph, it pierced the exact location of her heart. And all of that happened in an instant. It pierced Rudolph, and then Kyrie. So they died, dropped to their knees, and fell over at almost the exact same time.
What's this? Talk about overwhelming. Ridiculously easy, isn't it? This is the kind of furniture I need. Way different from predecessor Summer's second-hand furniture. Come on, bring their corpses here. I'll keep reviving them until I'm bored, and I'll try killing them in as brutal a way as I can think of. Ah, to think being a witch could be so much fun. That taking a life could be so much fun.
Now I'm imagining Hideyoshi seeing all of this and being like, what the hell? Because that's his wife.
True. If Hideyoshi survives this, he's gonna have to go back and be like, guys, they were right here.
Hideyoshi's not gonna survive though, because he's stuck in the locked mansion. He's just gonna be the next Twilight after Kyrie and Rudolph. There's no way. If they pulled that, where they were like, yeah, they win, but no, they don't actually, Hideyoshi's not gonna fucking get out of here. It's only natural that humans can't understand how pleasurable it can be to break this taboo. But she was no longer a human. She was a witch. And there were some pleasures that only witches could understand. By now, she had tasted those pleasures and was totally immersed in them. After learning that the contents of the forbidden pot were honey, she could no longer live without them. No. Maybe the contents were honey because they were forbidden. Anyway, by killing humans gruesomely and doing it over and over, she could feel the drug-like pleasure even now. As the witch rolled over laughing, the gold snake that had just been shot returned as though being reeled in. At the tips, 2 people were pinned and dragged along. The witch's order had been fulfilled. Rudolph and Kyrie had been killed instantly, and their corpses had been carried back.
Shysters 45 and 410, order execution complete. We await your next order, great Lady Beatrice. Please, your orders.
From babysitting to playing online games with you to shooting down a space shuttle, we'll take care of everything.
What's their price?
That's an interesting implication.
What's their price? I need them for one of those 3 things.
You have to become as great an endless witch as Beatrice, apparently, who is apparently the strongest one ever.
The Rokinjima mansion, I know where it is in Japan. We gotta go.
Real shit?
I've solved the epitaph.
Yeah?
Actually, yes, I do know where
Let's
it is.
go. You and me. When all of the Umineko streams are done, we'll film a vlog.
We'll do a vlog there?
Yeah, us going to Rokenjima. And the entire thing will just be like, you remember when Rudolph died right here? I remember.
Just taking pictures that's like, Rudolph's death spot.
Yeah. First epitaph of episode 1. It's us at the shed.
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks like these two are the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th twilights. So in the end, I'll need those worthless 7 sisters. Or are they the 5 sisters now? I need those guys to pierce and gouge the forehead and the chest. But I can do that at the very end, and I'm free to play in any way I want until then, right? Oh. I was gonna say no more fun. Wait. Have you already forgotten what I've told you? Oh, it's you, Predecessor-sama. Do you have any complaints? Of course I do. You're doing whatever you please, aren't you? Why haven't you followed my directions? What's wrong with doing as I please, Predecessor-sama? Anyway, I don't plan on deviating from the rules of the ceremony in the slightest. I'll definitely clean these 2 corpses up later and drive stakes into their forehead and chest. I'm telling you, that is not the problem. If you act so if you act so undignified and cruel, some people might take it badly.
Just have Battler yell at her. That'll straighten her out. Bring him in here, Beatrice. Pull him into the real world for a second. In fact,
to come talk to you.
Yeah, in fact, get the one who's here on the chessboard and the other one. Get 2 of them, and they'll both yell at her at the same time.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
You mean your opponent in that game, the one you're supposedly fighting against somewhere? Ronove told me. Damn that blabbermouth. Well, to be perfectly honest, that's how it is. If you go a little too far, that person will object, you see? Why can't this person just complain to me directly instead of making you take a message?
Oh boy.
That coward.
I don't think it's a coward thing. I think it's that they're not letting him.
Well, this is a resident of a different world from yours. There's no choice but to use me as an intermediary. Well, that's beside the point, but... Which means that this person couldn't interact with me even if they wanted to. And I can't interact with them even if I want to either. Simply put, this is a completely unrelated person from a world that distant, right? Indeed. For example, perhaps you could say these worlds are like very close parallel lines. The distance between them is quite small, but because the lines are parallel, they will never cross. For now, that should be a convenient way for you to view that world.
Interesting. That's some lore.
They never cross. Which means that world has nothing to do with me.
So there is like a multiverse system going on here.
Yes.
Okay.
I will say that admittedly. Had you gone through Higurashi first, you'd been all about that. But
Already know
don't
that.
worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're speaking for that person when you tell me to show restraint, please pass this message on to them. To them? Or should I say? Okay. It's none of your business, so disappear, you old hag. If only you'd just give up and die. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Since it was a friend of yours, I just assumed she'd be a woman. By old hag, I'm definitely not talking about you, Predecessor-sama, so please don't get mad at me.
When she spoke, the witch was looking straight into Beato's eyes. Anyone present would be able to tell what she meant by it.
Predecessor-sama, there's something I find really strange. Why do you have to play a game with someone from another world and have him accept that you're a witch? Well, as to that, it's because making all humans accept the existence of witches is a prerequisite of perfect control. There was a single holdout who simply wouldn't accept me as a witch. Why would you need the approval of a human? Witches are witches and can use magic, so why should we need to be acknowledged by humans? Well, like I said earlier, magic is... I am a witch. I can use magic without anyone's approval in particular, so what's your point? In this world, right? However, since that person won't accept it, how should I explain it? I don't need you to. After all, isn't all this about a different world that never crosses this one?
But the witches seem to be multi-dimensional travelers, so that's probably a problem.
Yeah. In other words, that world might as well not exist. You fighting a game in another world is absolutely no different from you telling me about stuff from your imagination.
Dang.
I'll say it again for those in back.
All right, I'm starting to get in the Beato corner. Come on, Beato.
Yeah.
You're smart. We've seen you pop off before. Come on, bring it back.
It has nothing to do with me. And I am already a witch. Predecessor Sama, somehow or another, it seems that you can't become a witch as long as this person doesn't acknowledge you. But I'm different. Even though no one has acknowledged me, I am an excellent witch already.
There was an entire ceremony acknowledging you.
Since you are my predecessor, I will formally pay you respect. But that's out of kindness, not out of duty. I won't ask for your advice anymore, because I clearly know what I should do and how I should play from now on. So I will carry out the murder of 13 people as a final act of respect for you. However, there is absolutely no reason for you to interfere with the methods I use, or what I do afterwards. Therefore, I'll be counting on you in that regard.
At a glance, those words seemed to be obedient, but they contained within them a clear parting of ways. She was no longer under Beato's care in any way. That's why she was clearly saying nothing more than, "Don't get in the way of my fun." Beato understood that, and was dejected, realizing that no matter how she explained it, she wouldn't be able to make the witch understand.
I see. Then it is no longer my problem. Go and learn with your own body how magic ceases to exist when you lose your respect for it. I wish you'd tell me where the respect was in that carefree rampage of yours up until now.
After hearing that, Beato could not respond, because she remembered hearing exactly the same thing from her teacher. Oof.
Okay now, Shyster sisters, see off my predecessor on her way back.
Predecessor Sama, please leave this place.
If you don't, we'll be scolded.
Throughout her body, Beato felt something unseeable from the Shyster sisters, which could only be described as an oppressive sensation. Most likely, they were initiating firing calculations. It was an action much like taking out a gun and cocking it. Even Beato could not escape from the Shyster sisters' attacks without any preparation. In the past, she had placed her greatest trust in them, so she knew how terrifying they were down to her very soul. So she has used them before.
Just not with instant summoning. Like she wasn't able to just bring them in once. There's like a ceremony. Predecessor Sama, if you would retire, I would not recommend damaging Beatrice Sama's mood any further.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Predecessor Sama.
I understand. I shall leave for now. I'll watch over the end you eventually reach at my leisure.
It was almost infinitely close to a parting shot. So, after Beato vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing.
Well, I do understand. The endless power is fun. The joy of freely toying with an extremely limited life cannot be explained to those who have not tasted it.
I can understand that feeling of being possessed with a pleasure similar to drugs.
Oh, hi.
It must have been quite fun, judging by your antics in the past.
Look, we have a family portrait.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's just like when you tried to admonish me in the past over and over and I did not listen?
Oh, we're having a teacher-student moment.
Why have you started trying to scold that child for her actions?
Well,
There's a single large difference between you and that child. That child may already be a witch. Of course, you are also a witch. At least, in the world on top of the game board. However, to be acknowledged as a witch in the world outside the game board, you need to have Battler-kun, your opponent in this game, acknowledge you. You must have understood that when you started the game.
I thought that if I could show off a whirlwind of proof that I am a witch, blow away his desire to deny me, and make him surrender, he would acknowledge me as a witch. It all went my way last time, so I thought I was just a breath away.
It's actually the opposite. Battler-kun was disgusted by your brutality. He did not step up to the plate as a player because he acknowledged you as a worthy opponent. It was based on a strong animosity, his resolve to completely deny the existence of a brutal witch. In your foolishness, you probably felt that Battler-kun's acceptance of his role as your opponent was a first step towards making him acknowledge you as a witch. However, it was actually the opposite. Battler-kun challenged you in this game because he was absolutely determined not to acknowledge you. No matter how hard the thoughtless north wind blows, the traveler only wears his cloak even tighter. You were committing a huge error from the very beginning. This game is not torture to make Battler-kun surrender. It is a test in which you must try to make Battler-kun accept you.
Oh, I vaguely noticed that.
The last game was a tough one for Battler, but as it seems you've already noticed, this game is a tough one for you.
What should I do from now on?
Think about it for yourself. Fortunately, you have already given up your pieces on the game board to the new witch. You should have plenty of time to reflect upon your own self.
But Battler's already amassed hostility to me. He won't accept witches, so he won't accept me. In that case, what can I do to make him accept me? Are you saying that if the north wind doesn't work, then I should shine on him as the sun from now on? Me, after all this time?
It's October now. The Halloween season. It's the month of rebirth when the sun dies and is revived again. When the sun is weak right after reviving, it may not reach far through the cold winter winds. However, it slowly grows and is eventually able to hail the coming of spring. At that time, the traveler may even fold up his cloak.
Are you saying that I've been mistaken?
For the last, 4 paragraphs, yes.
What?
Okay, I have to use the restroom real bad.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stop right here, just 30 seconds.
Alright.
I'll be back.
Okay, I'll just hang out. Oh. We get to listen to this song again. This one. Yeah, Corridor of Purgatory's Sands. Well, we've got through the main part I wanted to get through. I don't know how much longer we'll go, especially because I haven't eaten today. But, well, at least in this chapter, I imagine. there's not a whole lot left. We've gotten almost all the sacrifices out of the way. But it still feels like there's several hanging chads, right? It feels like there's several things left that have yet to be unanswered in this episode, right? So I guess we'll just have to see. Have to see what happens. That's about all I really gotta say. I'll look into seeing if that pronunciation is correct later for the sisters, the bunny rabbit sisters. But I'll do that later. I can do that at my own time. Man. And we're close. Oh, welcome back. I was just yapping.
Yeah.
You're...
Do you have any thoughts you would like to finish, or can I get back into it?
No, you're good. I don't even know what I was saying.
Okay. Well, while we have this brief interlude, Shyster Sisters.
Yeah.
New
Think about
furniture.
that. They have bunny rabbit ears.
I knew that there were going to be more characters eventually, because I know that, like, we're probably not even halfway into all the characters that are in this dang thing. But
Yeah.
it's like, it's crazy to me thinking from an outside perspective of someone who knows nothing. And it's like, oh, we're on episode 3. Clearly all of the players have been revealed to us. There will be no new characters at this point. No. We're also like halfway through episode 3, I think. No, new people.
No, we're
New
pretty
furniture.
close to the end of 3.
Are we? Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Think we can knock it out this stream?
No.
No? Okay.
No, not in one stream.
Well,
we
regardless.
can end this chapter and see what happens with the next one.
They do have bunny ears, and they are cute.
Yeah.
But that's like 90% of the furniture anyways, so.
Yeah, they're new, they're cute, they're cool, they're better.
Yeah, they're just better in every way than the Seven Sisters, apparently.
Yeah.
They so.
Oh, we could probably see them in the tips menu real quick if you want to.
Yeah, they might be in there now. I don't know. Oh! Sorry,
Oh.
I immediately right-clicked on accident. Yeah.
Look at their symbol. It's just the little armband.
Which is interesting that it's that, because if they're supposed to be, like, British, that is the flag of Iceland. But I think it's supposed to just be the Union Jack colors, because that is the Union Jack colors and a cross. But yeah. Shyster 410. A weapon in contract with Beatrice. 410 is a kid with a strong personality whose particular type of speech tends to make light of people. She likes laughing at people who are serious or can never relax, which is why she's so fond of 45 and Lucifer. Her choice of words may be coarse, but she loves company and gets lonely easily. She gets depressed if there isn't someone talking with her constantly. 410 is particularly skilled when it comes to fire and control, and she can wield unparalleled combative force even in close-range fighting. They do have similar skirts to the sisters, with the open front. Shyster 45, a weapon in contract with Beatrice. 45 has a methodical and timid personality, as well as a fairly strong persecution complex. Thanks to that, she's well suited to shoring up the weaknesses of 410's rough personality when they work as a pair. She can't stand silence, so she'll often become emotionally insecure if she isn't being ordered around by someone constantly. Already saw that. 45 excels in search and decision-making capabilities. The support she provides doubles the combative force of the sisters. There we go. I'm assuming this is eventually going to be as full as this one.
Baby.
So...
I need to watch the anime section again, because in my memory, the anime did not do a good job with the Kyrie Rudolph sections that we watched, which is a shame because they go so hard.
They do.
But then I think that the way they handled the sisters was done really well. I gotta go back and watch that episode.
Okay.
I'm looking into origins of that word to see if I can find a definite pronunciation. My research so far is that they made it up. like Umineko made it up, or Ryukishi made the word shyster up.
I am only operating under the assumption that it's supposed to be English or British because of the Pendragon thing, which is obviously King Arthur's royal name. So, that's the only thing that has led me to that conclusion. I might just be completely wrong.
The only information I've been able to find so far is the official, like the wiki for Umineko describes the pronunciation as Shiesta.
Shiesta.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Which that sounds like German.
It does.
I'm pronouncing it like that. Anyways, doesn't matter. We'll probably maybe learn more. It probably doesn't matter if we learn more or not.
Not particularly, no.
The beautiful hall of the Ushiromiya mansion was covered with a golden sparkle like gold leaf, and stained deep red with thick spurts of blood.
You know, it also makes sense that demons would be hot anime women. Anyways.
It do. Gamer subs. Use code NET1, I wish.
Code black.
Yeah.
The number of deaths given to Rudolph and Kyrie had long surpassed anything you could count on both your fingers and your toes.
Okay, so we're just breezing over it. I was kind of hoping we wouldn't have to sit here through another long scene of gratuitous murder and brutality.
Yeah.
The witch was breathing so hard her shoulders shook, but it wasn't because she was tired. She's freaking me out.
Yeah? You don't like Beatrice?
She's enjoying this in ways that there's only so many ways you can get to ragged breathing through enjoyment of something. And that's all I'm gonna say. She just couldn't excite her ragged breaths caused by her still uncontainable excitement. And the fact that it's her family makes it even worse too. Anyways.
How fun it is to do as I will with people's lives and deaths! With the power of the endless witch, the endless everything I paint with my mind becomes reality. No matter how sloppily I mash them, I can revive them, returning them to normal with just a snap of my fingers. Because in the end, I just have to restore the corpses and follow the epitaph as an afterthought.
You get the point.
Yes.
Hey, you guys, have you ever sliced a stuffed animal's stomach open?
Never. What about you, 45?
No! I have never done it. My apologies. That's understandable. Normally you wouldn't. Especially not if it was a stuffed animal you liked. But I've always thought about it. I always thought about peeking in and seeing what was packed inside this fluffy stuffed animal I love.
If you cut it and looked inside, your curiosity might be quelled, but the stuffed animal would be broken. So even though you want to see, you can't. You understand that feeling, right? Can't say I do. Can't.
The power of the endless witch can truly grant that wish. As I am now, I can slice the stuffed animal all I want. And yet, with a bit of magic, I can return it to normal and revive it. In other words, it means I've broken all limitations in this world. As I am now, I don't have to hesitate or give up an idea or anything. That joy. There's probably no one who can understand it. No one other than me, the Golden Witch.
As the witch let out a mad war cry,
Radon.
she revived Rudolph and Kyrie again. Yeah, Radon. And faster than they could realize it, she killed them right away. Well, that seems pretty merciful, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. She's tripping right now.
She's gone so far into brutality that she's looped back around into into
Horseshoe
mercy.
witch theory.
She made it known that something other than cotton was stuffed inside those two.
Well, that's good. At least.
Yeah, we figured it
I
out.
wouldn't be surprised if she did that part. Q.
Quit it, Ava!
Huh? Oh, it's you. How long have you been there?
In that gruesome hall, Hideyoshi appeared with his gun readied. The witch had sealed the mansion with a barrier, so Hideyoshi had nowhere to run. He's been trying to get out this whole time.
Yeah, he's just heard this echoing.
He probably picked up Rudolph or Kyrie's gun and come back. The gun, which should have been something to be feared, was apparently no longer an object she took seriously now that she was overflowing with magical power. Her bold expression didn't flinch in the slightest.
Why did you have to kill Rosa Santa Maria-chan and Rudolph Kun and Kyrie-san?
Huh? I am the head of the Ushiromiya family, the Witch of Rokenjima. Everything that occurs on this island is all up to me. Whether they happen to be alive or dead at any particular moment in time is meaningless to me.
All the gold's been turned to lead!
Oh!
You went mad after finding Father's gold. Just how high must that gold have been piled? I can't even imagine it. It must have been enough to steal away your sanity. But if there was that much gold, why didn't you think of graciously splitting it up?
You misunderstand. All of that belongs to the Golden Witch. No one is qualified to touch it except me.
What are you? Don't tell me you're that thing Ava told me about long ago. The witch Ava, from when she was young.
That's right. I am the me from my years as a girl who's been living in the heart of your wife, Ushiromiya Ava, this whole time. And I'm a witch. Ava became an adult by forgetting me, so she can't use magic.
All kids get their heads filled with innocent but cruel ideas sometimes. When I was young, I'd sometimes go around stepping on ants and pulling the wings off dragonflies.
No.
However, I learned the importance of life and graduated from that cruel childhood age. Right now, you really are a child. A personality that I know Ava graduated from. That personality isn't Ava. It's a completely different human.
That's right. I am not Ushiromiya Ava. I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice. It's so fun not being bounded by any limitations, and the pleasure of being able to do as I will with life and death is truly wonderful. I don't have to apologize for breaking a goldfish bowl. And I can tear stuffed animals up as much as I want.
There was a crisp sound. It was the sound of Hideyoshi slapping the witch's face. Looking at the hall stained deep red with fresh blood, he should have been able to imagine how terrible the witch was. But without fear, without even hesitating, Hideyoshi had walked determinedly up to her and hit her on the cheek.
You fool! Don't act like you're cruel. Not when you're really a coward and a weakling. I'll correct that evil nature of yours again if I have to. You fool! Fool!
Ow! Ouch! Hey!
You're a woman who understands how important, how fragile a life is, aren't you? I'll make you remember. What are you calling a witch, you stupid fool? You're my wife, Ushiromiya Ava. If anything, you're a witch of the kitchen, who can always make the perfect snacks out of refrigerator leftovers in a flash. Won't you open up your eyes, you fool?
Didn't I just tell you that I'm not Ushiromiya Ava?
You stupid fool. You!
As tears dripped down his face, Hideyoshi kept hitting the witch's head. He wasn't even pointing the gun at her anymore. Therefore, that sound of gunfire couldn't have come from the gun Hideyoshi was holding. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
The gun, which had fallen in the corner near Rudolph's corpse, was floating in the air, and smoke lingered near the barrel. And the bullet? A red stain was slowly spreading across the chest section of Hideyoshi's vest. Even though his back was facing the barrel of the gun, the bullet had driven through Hideyoshi's chest. Well, there goes the I'm not going to hurt any of your family.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not Ava. What a stupid, annoying man. You're a pain, so I'll switch the sacrifice of the sixth twilight to you. If only you'd just hidden under some bed shaking or something, I planned on letting you go. But no, you went to all the trouble of coming back. You really are a stupid man.
Thunk. There was a dull sound as Hideyoshi fell to the floor. Even though death would have allowed him to escape from that pain, he resisted until the last second. And staring straight into the witch's eyes, he passed away. Because he had died without closing his eyes, the witch didn't realize that he was dead for a short while, and remained pinned by that gaze. Should we make this one a new toy and play? At those words, the witch finally realized that Hideyoshi was dead.
Yeah. Right. What'll we do?
The Shyster sisters waited for instructions. On the inside, they imagined the sorts of even more brutal orders that their master might give. But the expression that rose to the witch's face looked as though she'd gotten over her excitement. She looked down at Hideyoshi's face, which still had tears dripping down it.
It's such a killjoy, and it's all this guy's fault. I'm done. Ronove, are you there?
Yes, right here.
Take care of the cleanup. I'll bet the predecessor Sama makes a fuss over this one. Please make it clean enough for that old hag to accept. I guess I'll follow the rules of the ceremony out of a sense of obligation to my predecessor Sama. Treat these 3 corpses as the 4th through 6th twilights. Lucifer, it's your turn.
Lucifer of Pride, right here.
Dig into these 3 corpses and gouge them.
Into corpses?
That's right. Got a problem with that?
No.
The 7 Sisters of Purgatory had their own sort of pride. It was the pride of a hunter, the pride of gouging prey that they had brought down themselves. However, being told to gouge a corpse that someone else had brought down ran contrary to that sentiment. Of course,
Ooh.
of course, the witch didn't mean it that way. But for the 7 Sisters, it was horribly humiliating. However, they had already screwed this up, and with 2 of the sisters defeated, so they had no right to question her. I feel like you do a little bit. Only Ronove appreciated this, and he rested his hand on her shoulder in understanding.
This is an order from Beatrice Sama. So carry these 3 and dispose of them in accordance with the etiquette of the ceremony. Then, when you are done, lend me a hand with the cleanup.
Certainly.
No one likes new Beatrice.
Except for her furniture.
The witch... Sorry, I was taking a sip. The witch looked down upon Hideyoshi's corpse, as though implying that the now delicate atmosphere was all Hideyoshi's fault. Lame.
Stupid man. And you didn't even have to die. Dear! Ah! Dear, where are you? You're there, right? Answer me!
The crash of a thunderbolt woke Eva from her nightmare. If Hideyoshi had been gripping her hand at that time, her fearful heart would probably have been instantly healed. However, Hideyoshi, who had supposedly sworn that he wouldn't leave for even a moment, was nowhere to be seen in the room.
Dear, answer me. Dear. Wah!
Whew.
And that is the end of that chapter. The battle to the death in the hall.
Wow. Holy moly.
I know. We still have... Holy moly. Oh my gosh. Oh. 4. We have 4 more chapters till the end.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad.
No, but they're really long.
That's how it goes with Umineko. That's 30 minutes had already passed since Rudolph's group had left the guest house. By any measure, their return was too late. And Kraus and Nazi, who waited by the entrance, were reaching the limits of their patience. The chain was set on the door. That was a precaution in the event that Rudolph's group was attacked and the master key stolen from them. For that reason, they needed to wait by the entrance like this for the others to return.
They really are too late. Don't you think something might have happened to them?
Indeed.
Kraus glanced between his watch and the door, struggling to keep his composure.
If something happened to prevent them from returning...
A terrible thought. But it seems we should ready ourselves for that possibility. So, it really was too reckless after all.
That is what I said! Why did they go outside when they knew it was this dangerous? How foolish! Why go outside even though Rosa-san had just been attacked?
Nothing will come of saying that now. At any rate, there are now 3 adults in the guest house. Me, you, and Ava, who's asleep with a high fever.
Screw you, Nanjo.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about Nanjo? At that time, the forceful sound of a door being opened came from the hallway, and they heard Ava's panicked voice. That voice kept calling out Hideyoshi's name. It seemed as though she'd had a bad dream or something due to her fever and was calling for her husband.
Ava-san, what is it? Are you okay?
Where is my husband? My husband isn't here. Even though he promised that he'd stay with me the whole time. Even though he promised that he'd grasp my hand the whole time.
Kraus was struck dumb by this attitude of hers, which she had never shown in front of him before. But Natsuhi understood her feelings.
Calm down. Hideyoshi-san is with Rudolph-san and Kyrie-san. They're outside right now.
Outside? Why? Why did he go outside after he promised that he'd stay with me the whole time? You mustn't go outside. The witch is outside. You mustn't go. You'll be killed. Wah!
Ava, calm yourself. Hideyoshi-san returned to the mansion with Rudolph and Kyrie-san.
Why did he have to go to the mansion? Why did he go outside even though it's safe here? Why did he go back to the mansion?
They went to get enough food to last until tomorrow. Hideyoshi-san was worried about your health and said that was partly why he wanted to go.
When will they come back? When will they come back? Don't go outside. Don't go to the rose garden. Don't go to the mansion. The witch is there. The golden witch is walking about. If she finds you, you'll be killed. You'll definitely be killed. When will my husband come back?
They left here 30 minutes ago. We are waiting for their return.
30 minutes ago? Isn't that strange? Why would it take so much time for them to go to the mansion to get food and come back? And why are you two just standing around here? We have to go get them. We have to hurry to where they are. Eek!
Ava probably had quite a nightmare.
Yeah.
And because it had continued even after she woke up, she could no longer hide her panic. Natsuhi tried calming her down, but all it did was make Ava's emotions explode even more. Maybe they heard that disturbance. Battler and the kids, who had supposedly been on the second floor, were peeking their faces through the crack of the lobby door. Kraus, Natsuhi, Ava, and Battler, George, Jessica, Nanjo. Everyone in the guest house had gathered by the entrance and understood their current situation.
I agree with Mother. We should go to check on Father and the rest.
Yeah, that's right. It's even possible that their load's too heavy and that they're having trouble carrying it. They should welcome some extra hands.
This happened right after Rosa-san was attacked. This may have been a secondary disaster connected to that. We should act with caution here and...
Don't be a fool. What do you mean caution? Are you saying we should let my husband die even though he might be begging for help? I'm going to look, and the cowards can stay here.
Looking agitated, Ava raised her gun.
Judging by her face, it would be useless for anyone to try and stop her. George, who realized that first, raised his hand.
I'll go as well. You will too, right, Battler-kun? The more people, the better.
Sure. Aunt Ava, we're coming even if you tell us not to. I'm coming too. I can't be the only one to hide in a safe place. Jessica, you must not go outside. Stay here with me. Got it? It was like they were implying that those three had already been killed anyway, so going outside would be pointless. Natsuhi realized that Ava felt like her heart had been gouged out, but she spoke strongly as Jessica's mother.
You're right. That should be fine. Let's have Nissan's family keep an eye on the guest house. This is a problem for my family and Battler-kun's. And I wonder if Dr. Nanjo would mind coming too. Just in case.
Yup. In the hall of the mansion, Battler, Ava, George, and Nanjo found the corpses of Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi.
There's
Bingus.
the tips.
Bingus.
Yep.
Bingus. The escape button's not working. Bingus. Every time I said it was me pressing it. It wasn't working.
Oh, you could have fooled people that's like your command when you hit the escape key.
Bingus.
On your
It just
desktop
says
makes
bingus.
that sound. Yeah.
I did say it in pretty much the same tone every time.
Yes, exactly. Oh.
Oh, died in the mansion. Forehead pierced by a weapon shaped like a stake. Apparently, they've got to be finished off with stakes from here on out. Kimoi.
Yeah.
Died in the hall of the mansion, her stomach pierced by a stake-shaped weapon. Stomach isn't a particularly lethal spot. Isn't it enough just to kill her in some other, easier way and stick a stake in her corpse? Died in the hall of the mansion, chest pierced by a stake-shaped weapon. That was careless of me. Didn't think you were still alive. Now it seems Ava is writing.
It's taken over, yeah.
The 4th through 6th twilights? Then the corpses were pierced through the foreheads, chest, and stomach with those demon stakes. Yes. The demon stakes were buried into them, one in Rudolph's forehead, one in Hideyoshi's chest, and one in Kirie's stomach. The disorder of the clothing on all three suggests that they were fighting or running away. Since the three corpses were not found right next to each other, it is hypothesized that after coming into contact with the culprit, they attempted some form of resistance. And they had stakes in the forehead, chest, and stomach. Horrible, just like usual. Even though Ronove knew it would be superfluous, he contemplated telling Battler the truth. Normally, the witch would have killed them in a much, much more horrible way. The corpses had been left in this manner only because Beato had suggested to the witch that she show restraint. The new witch, thinking it would fit well enough as long as she gouged them with stakes, would probably have just stuck a stake into a lump of meat that wasn't even shaped like a human. Rosa and Maria's corpses were a particularly striking example. If they'd been killed as the Golden Witch had wished, just how gruesome would the corpses have been? Beato had changed that into the still better kind of killing Battler had mentioned earlier. Wanting to have Beato's small bit of thoughtfulness appreciated, he thought of telling Battler about this. But judging by Battler's eyes, that might do more harm than good. To humans, the gap between being alive and being dead is very large. Saying that she'd given them better deaths might have made it possible for a demon to understand her feelings and pardon her, but there was no way for a human to be so accepting. Understanding this, Ronove remained silent, despite knowing of Beato's modest efforts. Just like usual, let's start by checking whether the corpses are dead. Ronove, please declare it in red. Hey, can't you hear me? Please declare it in red. Repeat it. Rudolph, Kyrie, and Hideyoshi are dead.
My apologies. Allow me to decline from repeating that.
Huh? The hell? What are you planning all of a sudden? By now, proclaiming that the victims were dead in red was almost a given in this battle. Refusing to do so was almost like losing by default. So when Ranove refused as part of his first move, Battler was dumbfounded.
My apologies. As of this moment, I relinquish my position as Milady's representative.
Dang! Man's going through it.
Yeah, he does not like the new boss.
Mm-mm.
Accordingly, I cannot repeat that in red.
Then who's gonna be the redder?
The only one qualified to repeat that is Milady.
He's gonna force her back. He's gonna force her to be back in the conversation. Okay, I see. He's gonna make them make up.
You like Battler, don't you?
His point is a valid one. Ranove is only a representative for Beato's side. If he steps down from that position, and if you will not accept Beato as an opponent, a new representative must be named.
No new representative exists. Please, Battler-sama. Please accept Milady as your game partner once more.
Sorry, but that's advice I can't listen to. I definitely won't accept that unpleasant, cruel bastard as my opponent. My refusal to accept her is why I can't step down from this game.
As to her being unpleasant, I apologize in Milady's stead. Allow me to pledge that Milady will not undertake such unpleasant actions again.
I wonder about that. Battler-kun, I also want to apologize. As that child's teacher. I'll give that child a good talking to, so please offer your forgiveness. Just this once.
Hey, enough of that. You're making it sound like I'm the bad guy. And no matter how much you guys apologize, it won't reach my ears. If Beato can say that from her own lips, well, I might listen to her.
Understood. If that is your only condition for acknowledging your opponent again, let us have that child apologize. Ranove, call for the child. Will that be all right, Battler-kun?
Sheesh. Do whatever you want. Still, don't expect me to forgive her. Go get that irritating witch.
You have my thanks, Battler-sama. I shall summon her here. Milady, Battler-sama is calling for you.
He is?
Yeah, true.
Pew.
Ooh.
After a few heartbeats, gold butterflies gathered together in midair and created Beato's form. It was a much more docile appearance than the one she had made before.
Did you call, Ranove?
I believe you heard. Is there some...
This is really funny to me, just the...
Yeah.
Don't you need to apologize? Do you want to say you're sorry?
Yeah.
Is there something you have to say from your own lips?
It looked as though Beato shrunk slightly under Battler's cold gaze. Several times, Beato made an effort to get the words out of her mouth, but that didn't work so well. And she was just as awkward as someone trying to light a match during a freezing winter with icy hands. Even as she did that, the game board was advancing. In the hall, they had just found the corpses of the new victims and had broken down crying. We have to go back. No. I want more of that. Bring me back. I want more Battler Beatrice stuff. Dang it. Dad. Kirie-san. Oh.
Dear, dear. Mother, hang in there. Even for me, it's so crushing. So sad.
They probably died instantly. I'm sure that even if we had arrived immediately after they fell, it would have been too late.
No, that's wrong. They were definitely alive. His chest was stabbed with something like this. My husband must have died in extreme pain. If we had come faster, surely they would have been saved. They would definitely have been saved. It must be tough for you too, Battler-kun, but stay strong.
I'm okay. It's okay, Aniki. Let me cry just a little bit longer. I've got it the best. I should be the least sad. So if you let me cry just a little longer, I'll be fine.
That isn't true. I can understand how much it must hurt your heart to have lost both parents. I still have Mother. That's much better than what you're going through, Battler-kun.
No, that's wrong. It's gotta be toughest for you, George Aniki. I understand, Aniki. In this group, you're the saddest and the one who has it toughest. I understand that. So I can keep on sobbing like this. Or I can't, I'm sorry, I can't keep on sobbing like this. God!
Why? Do you say it's toughest for me?
To me, Dad and Kyrie-san were people I'd eventually split up with when I grew up and became independent. Since their parents, it was fated that they die before their kids. It just happened a little early, that's all. But it's different for you, Aniki. You didn't just lose your parents, who would have parted ways with you eventually. You also lost Shannon-chan. Someone you should have spent the rest of your life with. You can't value human lives differently. Whether it's a baby or an old person, they should all be respected the same. But still, the more life that person has ahead of them, the longer the future you're building together is, the sadder the fact of their death is. Aniki, you were engaged to Shannon-chan, right? You promised that you'd build a life and home together in the future, right? Compared to how huge that future was, compared to how huge that happiness was, stuff like my pain doesn't even come close. So you should be allowed to cry much, much more, Aniki. And yet, just because you act like a big brother to us cousins, you force yourself to act like you're so calm.
Stop it, Battler-kun.
George was trying to make a calm smile. But already, he couldn't stop a single hot tear from leaving a streak down his face.
There's no way I wouldn't be sad, right? Together with Shannon, I painted a picture of many futures in my mind. We talked of dreams that couldn't all come true, even if we lived 100 years. Of those dreams, even the very first one, having her move into my family register, could not be granted. So there's no way I wouldn't be sad, right?
Compared to that, like I said, I have no right to cry anymore. When even you're struggling to hold it in, I have no right to shed any more tears.
We're the same. We both feel the same sadness from losing those close to us. So there's no rule that says you can't shed any more tears than me, Battler-kun. And for me too, there's no rule It says I have to hold back my tears any longer, is there?
Aniki. Aniki!
Shannon, the one who shared my dreams for the future, is dead. Father's dead too. It's so sad, so sad. Ah!
As Battler and George hugged each other tightly, they cried a waterfall of tears over each other's shoulders for the people who had been so precious to them. Do you understand why I said that George Aniki has it the toughest?
What is this music?
Okay. I thought I was losing my mind. You hear the
Nope.
the like anime girl too
Yeah.
whispering in my ear? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Melting Away is the name of this song.
For a second, I thought something was like bleeding through your mic, and I was about to be like, "Producer,
Nope,
your gotcha
nope,
game's
nope.
bleeding."
No. Umineko as a gacha game would go hard, by the way. But anyway.
True. I think we already talked about this once.
Have we?
Yes, we said all the witches would be 5 stars.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was listening, so I understand. Your sadness is proportional to the length of time you would have been able to spend with that person afterwards.
Of course, you can't calculate it just like that, though. We humans aren't like you witches. From the time we receive life to the moment we die, we live within that limited period as strongly as we can manage. I can't forgive anyone who makes light of that. And I definitely can't forgive anyone who sneers at people and toys with them. A person like you, whose very concept of death is all screwed up, probably can't understand that. I'm not just mad because of the length of time they would have lived afterwards. It's sneering at the lives of people living with all they've got. That's what I can't forgive the most. George Aniki lived his life by recklessly doing his best. He must have approached this day with a grim resolve to marry Shannon-chan no matter the challenges. That's completely different from me, since I was happy to just be able to meet my cousins after a long while.
But still...
Beato, for now, stay silent and listen.
Indeed.
In a way, I understand your point. You say you need to continue murdering according to the epitaph for your own resurrection. So, considering your circumstances, I can just barely bring myself to understand your murders. Because to you, it's a necessary course of action. But that means all unnecessary actions you take beyond that are due to your meaningless and brutal tastes. In other words, if killing the 6 people for the first Twilight was a necessary action for you, then all that show of crushing their faces and splitting their stomachs and stuffing them full of sweets was completely unnecessary, and caused by nothing more than your brutal hobby. That's an aspect of you that I definitely cannot forgive.
Indeed.
When you saw Aunt Rosa getting repeatedly killed in that horrible way, you apparently said something like, if they're going to be brought back to life in the end anyway, it doesn't matter how they're killed. I heard from Virgilia.
Well, as to that,
That idea that you can kill them as many times as you want, as long as you can bring them back to life in the end. Isn't that a completely unnecessary action with no purpose other than to toy around with someone's life? If you're going to kill, do it instantly. Don't toy with them. If you won't kill them, then don't bully them. You're taking advantage of the fact that you can do as you will with people's lives, and you've forgotten the sanctity of life. So I can't accept or acknowledge you. I definitely can't accept as my opponent a person who doesn't know the value of a life, or the sadness felt when lives are lost. That is why the endless magic is known as a black art. The Endless Witch has no concept of limitations. She has no concept of the limitations and losses caused by breaking and killing. For that reason, Endless Witches sometimes start playing by jumping over the gap between life and death, like it's a game. That is a very, very frightening thing. So as an Endless Witch, and by my own choosing, I never reached your level. It was something Virgilia had been trying to tell Beato for a long time. But Beato had been too young to obediently listen to those words. She had been too wild. She had been possessed by that detestable pleasure.
I have been told not to break vases. That's why I wanted to break them. Then I gained the endless magic. When I knew that I could fix them back to normal no matter how badly I broke them, I was surprised at how fun it could be to break a vase.
That is what's known as the forbidden honey. People are not captivated by what's inside. They're captivated by the sealed lock. It is truly regrettable. I want to ask you, Virgilia, why does this thing called the endless magic exist? For what purpose does it exist in this world? It is not limited to the endless magic. All magic exists to bring happiness to the human world. After everything that has happened, it may be difficult for you to believe, Battler-kun, but in order to bring blessings to the human world, we witches are supposed to become bridges between humans and non-humans, and that is why we train so hard.
Dang.
How does reviving the dead and torturing them to death over and over again help the human world? When a vase that was an important memento is broken, if by fixing it everyone will regain their smiles, I would repair it with magic as many times as necessary. However, I would not be fixing it in order to break it again. I would be reviving it to give humans happiness. In that case, Beato, you fail as an endless witch.
Indeed.
There's this thing I've been vaguely thinking about. Why do I keep playing this strange game against you? Maybe this game isn't about making me surrender. Maybe it's a test for you to be accepted as an endless witch in the truest sense.
I don't know about that. The reason I proposed this game to you was, simply as a way to kill time. There were no ulterior motives at work.
Just now I heard the definition of a witch from Virgilia. By that definition, you, Beato, are not even a witch. You're an apprentice who's still in training, and who misunderstands her own power. This was supposed to be a fight between a witch and a human. If you aren't a witch, then you aren't qualified to be my opponent. Understand?
You say I'm still only an apprentice. And then when will I be accepted as your opponent once again? When can we resume this game?
Who knows? At the very least, it isn't now. When you fully understand what I've said and become a real witch, I'll probably accept you as my opponent in this game once more.
I can't understand it if you say it so abstractly like that. Clearly, tell me what I should do to earn your forgiveness.
No, I've said enough. You think about the rest. That's all I want to say. If you can't figure it out, try talking with Virgilia and Ronove. A brat like you should start off by listening to what the adults say. Virgilia, suspend the game for now. Now that Ronove has stepped down as a representative, all we can do is wait for Beato to gain the qualifications of a proper opponent. Understood. Until Beato has been acknowledged as having earned those qualifications, the game will proceed without an opponent. Is that all right with you too, Beato?
I have no objections. I want time and a place where I can think at a leisurely pace. May I leave my seat for that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well then, see you later.
Wait. Don't make that dejected face.
Sorry about that. Letting everything inside my heart show up on my face is part of my personality. I cannot deceive.
Then maybe there's still some hope for you. Let me promise you one thing. In this game with you, I might win and I might lose. If you don't come back, it might be my victory by default. At that point, Battler stopped talking for a second. Then, he spoke forcefully. However, I definitely won't be the one to step down. I definitely won't give you a victory by default. I'll keep on waiting here for you to sit there again as my worthy opponent.
Thank you, Battler. I will definitely come back and be accepted by you.
After showing a hopeful smile for a very short while, Beato vanished. After seeing her expression as she left, Battler was absolutely convinced that her face could tell no lies. Oof.
I know.
Heavy stuff.
Indeed.
Alright. Let's see where this lot's getting to.
What are these goofballs up to now, huh? I'm
seven-
gonna go pee.
Okay. I'll just keep going until we get to one of your lines. The 7 survivors returned to the guest house once again. By now, it was clear that those who went outside would not return alive. Rudolph's group had gone out with 2 guns and a master key, but those had been lost. It was already clear that those had been stolen by the culprit. Because the shutters were closed on the windows, they couldn't be opened even if the culprit had a master key. The front and back doors that led to the outside were all sealed by chains, and they were further blocked with sofas and tables. Even if the culprit decided to break in through violent means. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. All that absinthe coming back up. It wouldn't be easy for them.
At this point, the typhoon may actually be fortunate. If it were clear outside, it might have been possible for them to set fire to the guest house.
And there we go. Got farther than I thought we were going to. Oh, man. Well, okay. So, unless Beatrice gets back to witch level, or I guess gets to witch level, because it's implied that she was never actually at it, before the end of episode 3, then episode 3 is just going to be a victory by default for Battler, I guess. I don't know if she's going to recover that quickly or not. I mean, they've surprised me before.
I've returned.
So, welcome back.
Ugh. Alright. Water.
Yep.
Okay. If there wasn't a typhoon in the first place, the boat would have arrived before noon. That's not much of a silver lining.
Ava-san, how do you feel? Please, try to take it easy.
Thank you. I still feel like I have a fever, but this is no time to complain about that. For the children's sake as well, this is no time to be bedridden.
After crying so much in front of Hideyoshi's corpse, Eva had felt a strong self-awareness of her position as a mother, and her expression conveyed a strong will. In actual fact, her fever still hadn't gone down, and she was aware of that. If she didn't keep a strong hold on herself, she felt as though the fever would make her mind hazy again. By this point, the first floor formed a final line of defense set up by Kraus, Natsuhi, and Eva. The children and the guest Nanjo had been strongly warned not to go downstairs without taking great care. If the culprit used a ladder or something, it probably wouldn't be impossible for them to attack from the second floor. But it wouldn't be easy for them to break those sturdy shutters from such an insecure position. The second floor was relatively safe compared to the first. Battler and George had also wanted to remain on the first floor so that they could fight if the worst happened, but Eva had put a stop to that. In her mind, George was now the only member of her family. It seemed that she didn't even want to expose him to the danger of coming downstairs to the first floor. Kraus and Natsuhi could understand that feeling.
Okay. We're actually breezing through this chapter quicker than I thought we were going to, so
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe we will finish this before the day's over.
Also, a great deal of time had passed since the siege began. In the second floor cousins' room, Battler, George, and Jessica sat dazed, and didn't even listen to the TV that had been left on. For a while, Nanjo had been with them, and had tried to lend them words of encouragement. But when he realized that he might actually be having the opposite effect, he hid himself in his own room on the same second floor. George kept looking dazedly at the photographs inserted in his notebook. It was from the time he'd taken a vacation to Okinawa with Shannon. Shannon's happy smile was contained in those photos. George could remember the temperature and the humidity, the warmth and the strength of the wind, and even what he had been talking about with her at the time those photos had been taken, as clearly as though it had been yesterday. So to George, they weren't simply photos, but a door to bring back warm memories. In this room, even though the sound of the typhoon and the TV should have entered George's hearing, it was the scenery of Okinawa he had seen with her and her laughing voice that reached his eyes and his ears. George had strived to be reborn after meeting Shannon. He had sworn to separate himself from the timid person he had once been, easily caught up in the atmosphere, unable to refuse a request, and easily used by those around him. He had resolved himself to become a strong man who could make her life more joyous. Therefore, if he hadn't met Shannon, the man called Ushiromiya George would probably have lived a very different life. And the George of that different life surely wouldn't have been as excellent a man as he is now. Oh, George?
True. The person I am now exists for Shannon's sake. Now that Shannon is gone, why do I exist? It's completely meaningless, isn't it?
He felt a deep, deep sadness, as though he himself had become empty. That feeling must have been tormenting him this whole time. However, until Battler mentioned it, he hadn't been aware of the feeling himself. He'd finally managed to remember that it should have been all right for him to cry much, much more. So he cried. Just like Battler had, he cried himself dry. By now, his eyes were bright red and swollen, and he couldn't cry anymore. So George did his best to change his way of thinking. He was not meaningless now, and he should be grateful to Shannon for giving him such a character. The dead don't come back to life. He would have to get over being separated from his most beloved person. If he were to chase after Shannon and kill himself, she would surely be deeply dejected. It worked the other way around too. If he had died, and Shannon had chased after him, throwing away her own life, he wouldn't have been able to forgive himself. So, he chose to surpass his sadness and anger, and decided to thank her instead. After meeting Shannon, she made his days rich and full, and taught him the meaning of working hard for other people's sakes. As a result, she had shaped him into the kind of person he had wanted to be. He wanted to thank her for that. He tried to quell his sadness in this way, but each time he did, he remembered Shannon's smile. He understood it logically. He knew that grieving any more than this would only make her grieve in heaven. But that didn't bring a stop to his sadness. Oops. I accidentally pressed mute.
Ah,
I pressed M instead of spacebar.
got you. He's doing the classic. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Smile because it happened.
This could be us, Levi.
Yeah. We're gonna stop at Okinawa before we go to Rokenjima.
Yep.
This is where George and Shannon had their date.
Guys, look.
The ocean's
Look
so
where
blue.
Yeah, it's blue. Do you see it? It's blue. Danga. You thought we were done with all the George Shannon stuff in
Nope.
episode 2? Nah.
We ain't gonna be done till episode 8.
Yerp.
We're why is it that when people die, it's so sad like this? Battler muttered. It was though he was speaking on behalf of all humans. His question probably hadn't been directed at anyone, but Jessica answered. It's always sad when you have to say goodbye. But when the person's older, there's some time. When you know beforehand that it's coming sooner or later, that sadness gets spread out over a long period of time. When the misfortune comes suddenly, it's sad because you don't even get that time. I see. So if they get sick or something and end up bedridden in a hospital, you might be able to ready yourself for it, bit by bit. But when it happens suddenly someday, you don't get that luxury. The sadness that's usually spread out over several years closes in on you all at once. That's pretty tough. Sometimes it makes you feel a sadness so deep it can leave scars for life. Scars for life, huh? Like grandfather's occult hobby. People say that's what caused it. That Beatrice, his mistress, died a long time ago, and that he was so sad that he couldn't pull himself together. Some people whisper that this is why he started sacrificing the rest of his life to occult research in order to revive the dead. If that's true, grandfather succeeded in that miracle in his last moments. The culprit is the revived Beatrice, and grandfather was reunited with her at the moment he was killed. Pretty ironic that he revived her, and then got killed by her.
Even so, grandfather probably managed to meet her. He gambled half of his life, and even though it was only for a short time, he was reunited with the woman he wished to see once again.
Then he got totally roasted, though. Feels like that result doesn't quite add up to the cost of researching for half his life.
That's not true. Even if it was only for an instant. Grandfather must have been happy to be reunited with the woman he loved. And that would be true. Even if his crime of going against divine providence was punished by God, and his body was burnt and sent down to hell. Even if that reunion only lasted a very short time, right?
George Nissan.
I wouldn't care I met with the wrath of God and had my body burned. Even if it was just for a short amount of time. If I could revive Shannon again, I would sacrifice the rest of my life to the same research as grandfather. I want to talk with Shannon again. Even if it's only for 5 minutes. Even 1 minute would be fine. In exchange, I wouldn't mind sacrificing the rest of my life.
Aniki. When Battler and Jessica realized that their pointless discussion was causing George pain, they could do nothing more than shut their mouths. George directed his thoughts to Kenzo's life. He sacrificed half his life to research that no one understood. And on the last day of his life, he revived the person he loved most, and probably succeeded in his reunion in his final moments. George didn't know how much time they'd had together. He didn't know if they'd been given an hour or just 5 minutes. However, that moment must have been enough to reward him for all those months of research. Even though he spent dozens of years to achieve it, that small amount of time was probably more than worth it to him.
George? Until today, I never believed in the occult or magic or anything. Somewhere in my heart, I even made fun of grandfather's research, thinking of it as nothing more than a pastime. However, I won't make fun of it anymore. No, to the contrary, I believe strongly that it's real.
If the power of belief can create miracles... Oh.
I'll probably throw away all of my studies up until today, spending the rest of my life from today onward studying magic.
And the vicious cycle continues.
Give me the power of magic. And give me a miracle that'll let me see Shannon again. Sorry, you two. What am I talking about? If you could revive the dead with magic, people would probably be researching it everywhere around the world. But things like that don't exist in reality. No one researches it.
Kenzo did.
That's because they know the dead can't be revived with magic. Sorry for saying something so weird. It's my fault that the atmosphere here has gotten so strange. Sorry for making you tiptoe around me, even though this is tough for us all. Even if I did it to divert myself from my sadness, maybe I did say something strange. If I keep talking about stuff that's so weird, I'm sure it won't do anything good for their sadness. But that doesn't mean I can bear this silence. I'll go downstairs and get another cup of coffee. Mom's very particular about how she likes hers. Does anyone else want a refill?
Battler-kun and Jessica-chan lightly shook their heads, without pressuring them any further. Oh, I took my mug and left the room. It's fine.
Yeah.
You took my lot! No, I'm kidding.
The shutters were all closed in the hallway, so the corridor was very dim.
Haha. I tried visiting Dr. Nanjo's room and asked if he wanted more coffee, but he said he didn't need any either. It seems my mother's orthodox method of making coffee isn't universally appreciated.
Dang.
One time, I made some for Shannon,
But she told me that while it was delicious, it was a little strong. Shannon. That's no good. Even though I left the room to change my mood, that image of Shannon's face filling my head hasn't faded in the slightest. I keep seeing those fun days with her more and more vividly. And it's saddening that I never even got a chance to see her dead face. According to our parents, she was apparently killed with something like a gun or a spear. I'm sure they were just trying to console me, but they had said her dead face had been very beautiful and peaceful. I wonder if she had the engagement ring I gave her last night on her finger. If she accepted my engagement, she should have had it on the ring finger of her left hand. Last night, we were both on the edge of losing it, and not calm at all. Shannon accepted my engagement pretty courageously, but she might have regretted that as a rash action once she cooled her head. She might have taken the ring off. I wonder if she has the ring on now. I want to be sure of at least that much.
Oh God, George is gonna leave.
I want to know how she felt at the very end.
And then he's gonna die.
But even if I do confirm that, it doesn't mean she'll come back. I wonder what will happen to her body. After the autopsy, it will probably be immediately cremated. Then I'll never be able to see her face, even her dead face, for all eternity. Has the shock of losing Shannon made me go a little crazy?
Time to carry on the family lineage.
I don't want her body to be burned. If she's burned and turned to ash, never again will it be possible for her to revive. They say cremation is frowned upon in Western tradition, because on the day of resurrection, there would be no body to revive. Because of that, it seems that great criminals in Western history were often cremated after execution as a punishment, and their ashes were sometimes scattered in rivers and such. In other words, to Western people, death is nothing more than a sleep until the resurrection. It is essential that the corpse is left after death. In other words, that's because Western people knew of a miracle that can revive the dead. He really is Kinzo-maxing.
He is.
But because that miracle doesn't exist in Japan, we burn them. Now I understand. I understand why grandfather idolized the Western occult.
It's not really the occult. It's
That's not the occult.
just the world's largest religion. It's just
Yeah. That was his only reason from the very beginning. Just to revive the person dear to him. Grandfather spent the rest of his remaining life researching the Western occult. The situation surrounding us now is abnormal. Grandfather did revive his beloved Beatrice. And that Beatrice has carried out a terrible serial murder, with linked closed rooms that force us to conclude that magic was used. I'll excuse him. Maybe it's like Gnosticism or something, with all this demon stuff they're talking about.
true.
The Golden Witch, Beatrice, the incarnation of the miracle of the Western occult. And also, the culprit who killed Shannon. She's an entity I should hate. And yet for some reason, I want to cling to her. I wonder if Shannon could be revived with the magic of miracles, which grandfather bet his life on. According to the legend of the Ushiromi family, grandfather met with her long ago and was given a vast quantity of gold. Then, if I also met with her, instead of gold, would she give me Shannon's life? As collateral, I don't care what sort of devil's contract she imposed. I wouldn't mind sacrificing all of my remaining life.
George probably couldn't believe or realize that his voiceless wish was heard by the witch herself, who stood right behind him. She's right behind me, isn't she?
She is. Be not afraid.
Man, it's crazy how all of these perfect scenarios for her to reflect on her actions are happening all at once.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Beatrice had been listening to that entire discussion between the children just now in the cousins' room.
These damn philosophical kids.
Making me cry.
Battler had told her that she didn't know the value of a human's life. And wanting to understand that in her own way, she had stealthily visited, listening in on their discussion.
That is your wish, you say? If I could grant that, would I be accepted as a witch?
Whoa, 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 whoa. What's gonna happen if she messes with the ritual? What's... You're throwing a gear into the works here, Beato. You're throwing... Beato looked at the palms of both of her hands. She had handed over most of her once surging magical power when the new witch succeeded the name of the Endless Witch. Of course, current power still made her worthy of being called a witch, but it could not begin to compare to her previous strength.
Even without the endless magic, I am a great witch whose name has been thundered for 1,000 years. Reviving the dead will be no trouble at all.
Inside her head, she thought about several magical steps she could take to revive the dead. Even magic that should have been easy in the past would be difficult with her current power. She thought of something, then clicked her tongue, then did so again, over and over. In the end, she finally thought of a single spell. But that was a spell that she couldn't use by herself. It was a spell that witches with weak power used, one that relied on the aid of others. In the past, Beato had looked down upon that type of magic. Therefore, she frantically tried to search for any conceivable alternative. But in the end, she couldn't think of one, and slumped over in self-derision. Then, careful not to surprise him, she softly called out. Softly, to George's heart.
Ushiromia George, can you hear my voice? I can hear you. Who are you? Are you really the witch, Beatrice? Or are you an illusion created by my sorrow? If it's the former, please hear my wish. And if it's the latter, just leave me alone.
Their conversation in a mental world was a lot like having one in a dream. When you dream, haven't you ever had the experience of casually accepting something that would have been absurd in the real world? The conversation in this world was like that. So even though a witch appeared and started talking to George, he was not surprised.
Indeed, I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. Normally, you and I would not be able to talk together in this manner. However, you are strongly conscious of me and wish to have a discussion. So both of our channels are able to match like this. I don't care if the person who killed Shannon was you, or someone else using your name. As long as you exist as a real witch, I'll pay whatever cost you ask for. If you desire my life, take it right now. Please, I want you to bring Shannon back to life. If that's impossible, I'd be satisfied if you'd just let me talk to her for a short while. Please. I ask for nothing in return. I shall grant that wish. Really? Really, you'll revive Shannon? Indeed. However, my current magical power is not sufficient to use the magic of resurrection. Therefore, I must rely on your help. If there's anything I can do, I'll do it. Even if that means taking my heart out right here and now, I will not hesitate. I told you, I don't need anything like that. I will chant the magic. then a gap will open in the door to the land of the dead. But as I am now, I do not have the power to bring Shannon's soul up through that gap. However, you have strong feelings for Shannon, and those feelings will surely become magic that can bring her soul out without fail. What do you say? Will you help me? I will. If Shannon's life will be restored, there's nothing I'm afraid to lose.
George's fist shook in silence. We just doing this straight out in the middle of the hallway?
Yerp.
Then,
Who's gonna know?
he slowly came to his senses. He had been absent-mindedly standing near the window in the hall the whole time, his mug still in his hand. And the witch from his dream was still there.
What the? It isn't a dream. Be quiet. I am very fragile now. If any more humans appear, I will not be able to preserve this form. I shall grant your wish, so stay silent for now.
Nanjo comes out to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Hideyoshi returns from the dead. I can't believe it again!
George, you should have seen what happened!
Understand?
George covered his mouth with both hands, nodding enthusiastically several times. In that instant, he almost dropped the mug he was holding. George frantically juggled it around and caught it. He was afraid that if it fell to the floor and made a loud sound, the witch's form might disappear like a bubble popping. He softly set the mug on the floor and stared at the witch in front of him again. Her form didn't disappear. It wasn't a dream.
Come, let us go to the parlor where Shannon sleeps. With the power of your feelings, we will bring back her soul. You say go, but how? My mother and the rest are downstairs. There's no way they'd let us go outside. And didn't you just say that you wouldn't be able to preserve your form if another human appeared? Come to think of it, that is true. So, Kraus and the rest are downstairs. In that case, we definitely cannot go down. Well then, we just need to go to the mansion without going down to the first floor, right? It's simple.
Beato laughed, as though she had thought of a pleasant prank. And with her golden pipe, she lightly tapped a window with its shutter closed. When she did, 3 gold butterflies appeared from the pipe and opened the lock on the window as though melting it. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't leave an unlocked window behind you. Then,
It's on the second floor.
the window
It won't
opened
die.
without a sound.
There's no problem.
The shutter beyond it was exactly the same. The clasp unset itself, and without making a sound, it quietly opened. I'm leery of you leaving an unlocked window behind you. The window opened, exposing the wind and rain outside the mansion. Perhaps because of the direction, or something related to the construction of the building, the wind did not blow inside. Because of that, for a while, George felt as though this entrance that opened to the outside was a dream or an illusion, and he couldn't accept it as real.
Come, let us go. Come with me.
Beato gently floated upwards. It was a natural action, like that of a diver enjoying an underwater stroll. It made it easy to believe that if you acted like she did, you too might be able to float in the sky just as though you were swimming through the water. No, George did believe that. So without thinking, just as she had done, he also, gently, as though swimming in the water, lifted his feet.
Oh, not bad. So you learned how to dance in the sky faster than I could explain it.
momentit. We are near the end of a chapter, so it could be soon.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. My one of my parents came in and spoke to me for a brief moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you read this line? I forget.
Yeah.
Okay. George was shocked to find himself floating in midair like he was swimming. Oh, hi, EDMC.
Oh yeah, hey.
Of course, Beato was also shocked that George, who shouldn't have been able to use magic, had figured out how to do so just by instinct.
To be able to fly in the air, to swim in the air. You mustn't be bound by reason. Accept it as a natural thing. You mustn't fall back to your human doctrines, such as those of Newton and Einstein, especially when flying high in the sky. Inexperienced witches sometimes plummet to the earth. I accept things for what they appear to be. I accept things for what they appear to be.
George repeated those words over and over. He must not deny magic, no matter what. Denying that would be like throwing away what might be his first and last chance to revive Shannon. However, compared to Beato, who was elegantly drifting like smoke, George's movements clearly resembled someone underwater.
That's funny.
Therefore, if he didn't act like he was kicking his feet in water every once in a while, he'd be caught by the force of gravity bit by bit.
I must say, you're doing better than when I first danced through the sky. Here we go. Come with me.
When Beato beckoned to George, she gently flew into the stormy sky. It was just like a scene from a fairy tale. The scene unfolding before George's eyes felt entirely like an extension of this dream. Shannon's been murdered for a while, EDMC.
Yeah. But she might get a chance to get murdered again.
Yeah, true.
Being able to fly is incredible. But so is the wind and the rain. What's this? Are the wind and rain tormenting you? I could teach you magic to block against that. But it may be too early for you, and it may be a misuse of time right now. Yes. The magic I need isn't that.
George wore a strong-willed gaze, refusing to let the wind and rain get to him.
The mansion is coming into sight. Hold out just a little longer. If you fall now, you'll hit the bushes in the rose garden.
The undulating rose garden was spread beneath the witch and George's gazes. This illusion-like scene no longer surprised George. Only the gradually approaching mansion was reflected in his eyes.
Oh, EDMC's asking, is there anyone with me? Make sure, are you unmute?
It says I'm unmuted. So,
Okay.
you're just crazy, EDMC? I am
voice
here.
acting skills.
Yeah. Levi is here, as he has been for every Umineko episode that we have done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right. My voice is going out, by the way. Shannon, wait for me. I will definitely revive you. Okay, there's one more little scene, and then that's the end of the chapter, which will leave us with, oh my gosh, 3 chapters. Wait, yeah, 3 chapters after this one's done.
George's gonna die. At that time,
The cruel new witch could be seen staring at the guest house from a different location. Oh, no, okay. She's not watching this. I thought she was going to pop up and be like, ah, you led George right to me, stupid, and then kill him. No, she's going to go in through the unlocked window, like I said.
Maybe not.
Now, all that's left is the 7th and 8th twilights. Just 2 more, and my obligation to that old hag predecessor is finished. I'll kill Kraus and Natsuhi. Let them die together like the good couple they are.
Where's the target, Nyan?
In the lobby on the 1st floor of the guest house, 2 targets and Ushiroma Eva identified. Measuring anti-magic power levels. Data linked to 410.
410 data received. Anti-magic power levels are extremely low. If Ava just goes outside, they're tuna and abalone on a chopping board.
Oh, what do you think, great Lady Beatrice? When you give the order, we shall snipe right away. Please, your orders. You guys really are convenient furniture. And not at all like that old second-hand furniture that's only useful for gouging corpses. Right? Shyster sisters, please show me your skill once more. Prepare to fire.
They're going to get killed, but then it's not going to work because Shannon's going to be alive.
And carry out the corpses again, got it? 'Cause I'll play with them a lot. No complaints from you, right, Ronove?
Correct. As you command.
At that moment, the witch noticed something. It was as though some presence had disappeared. Was it her imagination?
Was that someone's presence just now? Did anyone feel it? My apologies, I haven't noticed anything, so please forgive me.
We were in the middle of observing the guest house, so our peripheral surveillance was set to off, Neh. What about you, Lucifer-chan? Did you feel any presence?
For just an instant, Lucifer glanced at Ronove, asking whether she should answer honestly or not. Dang! She's straight up thinking about lying!
Mm-hmm.
Ronove gave a small nod in response.
No. My apologies, Beatrice Sommer. We noticed nothing.
Oh, they're lying.
Forgive us the stupidity of second-hand furniture.
I'm kicking my feet right now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
I see. If a great demon like you says that, then it must have been my imagination.
The witch persistently stared in the direction the presence had disappeared to. That was where the rose garden lay. Interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
And beyond that, she could see the mansion's dark silhouette created by lightning. The shot of the forest behind it confused me a little bit because I was like, that's not Beatrice and George, they're going to the mansion.
Yeah.
It took some time before she pushed her unsatisfied feelings aside. And once again, faced the guest house.
Okay, that's the end of the chapter. There's 3 left.
I'm going to call it there. We've been going for
Yeah.
4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little over 4 hours.
The next one's not particularly long. The one after that is insanely long.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, let me... I'm waiting for it to fade in. Okay, there we go. All right.
Well,
Give it... No, don't load. Don't load. Save. Don't want another one of those where I have to go through the
Yeah.
entire thing again
Yep.
by myself. Although it was kind of
Also-
fun because I listened to the voice acting, but...
Yeah. By the way, that whole group from when Ava wakes up to what we just got to, that chapter is called The Definition of a Witch.
Ah, there we go.
I can tell you this after the fact now.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Well,
They have the one-winged eagle too. I just noticed.
they do have a one-winged eagle on both their thighs. It didn't switch. Yep, on their thighs.
Yep.
This is the most obvious place you would put it. Obviously, not like on the shoulder or the breast or anywhere. Just on straight on the naked thigh.
Yeah, bunny ear.
Yep. Also, yeah, bunny ears for literally no apparent reason other than just
I
to
was
have
thinking
them.
Put the one-winged eagle on the bunny ear.
Oh, put the
but-
one meter on the yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about doing it.
Welcome, Chister sisters, to
Yeah.
Umineko no Naku Koro ni.
Indeed.
Glad to have you in our ensemble.
Yep.
And
They're funny looking.
yeah, they are humorous. I think they're quite amusing so far.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
I mean, a lot happened, but we don't have a whole lot of time to really decompress. So we'll just mention it at the top of the next one. We'll
Yeah.
be like, what happened?
We'll have to see you all next time for all of you who watched live and all of you who are watching the VOD.
Yeah.
As per usual, any announcements?
The rundown. Yep. This Tuesday, join me to play some game. I'm not sure what yet. People need to vote for it if you haven't voted already. It's in our community tab and on our Twitter/X.com, where you can find a poll for what game I should play. I'm on a nostalgia kick, so I'm playing nostalgic games for me. Mostly PS2 era games. The winner right now is Digimon World Data Squad, which is going to be an interesting one, if that's the winner.
And then should be roughly with a caveat of sometime during the weekend. Actually, no, that's a lie. I needed to talk to you about this and I haven't yet. I'm going to be on vacation next weekend.
Well, guess what? I'm going to be on vacation next weekend.
So no Umineko next weekend, guys, cuz I'm going to the beach with my family.
I'm going to the north. I'm going to an island with my family.
Dang.
So,
Well, what a coincidence how that worked out, huh?
Yerp.
So we'll see you guys then back the first weekend of August?
I think there's one more weekend in July.
There is, yes.
Yeah.
Which, if we are that weekend, it might not be Saturday because I think I will be coming back from the beach on that Saturday. So if we do end up doing that weekend, it'll be the 28th will be the next time we do Umineko. But if it ends up our schedules don't work out, then it will be the first weekend of August will be the next time we do Umineko. So
And we'll see if that is the end of the banquet of the Golden Witch.
I'm extremely invested now. Like
I know,
the
right?
burn is over. We've been doing it so long now that I'm like, I want to know what happens to everyone all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't know. I was like, I almost hate to end the stream because I want to keep just going, but yeah, we gotta.
We do have lives outside of this, if
It's
you didn't
true.
know. So,
Yep.
without further ado, I'll go ahead and click the button